Hey everybody, welcome to the show. This week we're here in Paris to attend the Paris Motor Show. We have a lot of interesting events to attend and a lot of cool cars to look at. Make sure you'll watch all our full-length videos and our short videos that we have been covering throughout this week at the event. Make sure to subscribe to Autogefuehl so you don't miss out on any of it. So are you ready? Let's go. So this here is the Ferrari Spyder. Now, we knew about a few months ago that Ferrari had decided to make a convertible version of their hypercar, the Ferrari, and this is the first time they're actually showcasing it. And boy, it's a stunner. Ferrari comes with a V12 6.3 liter engine, which makes about 800 horsepower, coupled with an electric motor as well. This car is one of the new hypercar segments, which shares its segment with the likes of the McLaren P1, the Porsche 918. So here we have a new version of the Alfa Romeo Giulia. This is a really great car. You can see our full review of the top spec and the bottom spec version. But what makes this special is it fits right in the middle and competes with cars like the C43. For example, this is the 2.0 liter turbo petrol, which makes about 280 horsepower. We also have a diesel over here. So this is a 2.2 liter turbo diesel, which makes 210 horsepower. So for a lot of people, this car makes more sense, or rather this segment, the petrol or the diesel, makes more sense rather than having the full-blown four-wheel drive top-spec version. And maybe the basic standard version is not as enthusiastic enough. So this completes the lineup for the Alfa Romeo Giulia. Another important launch at the 2016 Paris Auto Show is the new Citroen C3. Where is it? It's up here. Now let's take a closer look at this one over here. So clearly, right away, it resembles its big brother, the C4 Cactus. So Citroen have incorporated a lot of the design elements from the C4 Cactus into the new C3. Like, for example, these air bumps that we really liked previously are also here as well. The interior also resembles the new C4 Cactus, which is a good thing because I think the C4 Cactus has a great interior, and so does this. Furthermore, in the back seat, this being a smaller car, it is a bit tight, but that would be expected of something of this size. And the C3 also shares a lot of its platform with its elder sibling, the C4 Cactus, as well. This here behind me is the Citroen C3 racing car. This is the WRC rally car, and Citroen has a long-standing history of making really great rally cars. They have 145 WRC and World Touring Car Championships victories. So this car has really big shoes to fill. And interestingly, this car does not have the air bumps. I don't think it needs it. So behind me, you see Renault's latest concept car called the Trezor, and it's an all-electric drive car. And interestingly, the drivetrain is based off of Renault's Formula E car, but obviously the body and everything else is just a concept which kind of showcases the future of Renault's design philosophy. saw the future of Renault's electric drive, but here is the present, and actually the past. The Renault Zoe is well known for being a good little electric car, but now it's a whole lot better. Why? Because the new Renault Zoe now is claimed to have a range of 400 kilometers. Furthermore, the power charging point is moved to the front, so which makes it a lot easier to charge once you've parked it at your house. And the last minor change, perhaps, is the rear door handle, which now is completely flushed, and you open it with a very simple flick. So I'm here at the BMW stall, and they have just premiered this, the all-new BMW X2. As the name suggests, this falls between the X1 and the X3. And this is still a concept. I mean, the wheels and the tires and the bumpers certainly won't make it into production the same exact way. But it gives you a very good idea of what this car will look like in the future. So the BMW X2 main competitors are cars such as the Mercedes GLA or the Audi Q5. And up front, we have the standard kidney grille of the BMW, but there are two enormous air dams as well. And the roofline is very coupe-like, and the shoulder line creates a much more dynamic impression as compared to previous BMW X's. And this car is based on the UKL platforms, which is shared with its little brother, the X1 as well. And you can decide to have this car either in a front-wheel drive or an all-wheel drive. As of now, we expect BMW to have two engines on offer, the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, which makes 231 horsepower, or the 3-cylinder 1.5-liter engine as well. So here behind me is the all-new Mercedes E-Class all-terrain. So it doesn't look too different from the E-Class, but what this is supposed to be is more off-road capable. So underneath the bonnet, this version has a 2-liter 4-cylinder inline diesel engine, which makes about 194 horsepower, and it's mated to a 9G-tronic transmission and comes with the Mercedes all-wheel drive system, the 4MATIC. So what this gives this car is a little bit more off-road credibility. That, coupled with the raised suspension, ensures that this car is suitable for somebody who wants to have the luxury of a Mercedes and the practicality of an estate, but also the off-road ability of an SUV. On the front, it's very similar to the E-Class, except for this large bumper, which makes it more rugged looking. As we go along the sides, we can see that the wheel arches are clad with black plastic to again show this crossover off-road ability of the car. Step inside and it's all too familiar. It's not much different than the Mercedes E-Class. The trim here seems to be very sporty rather than luxurious. It's not wood, it's just has a brushed aluminum effect. But you have your standard 2-screen dashboard, and it's very similar to a standard Mercedes E-Class inside. So let's continue down the side. The rear, again, pretty much the same. More black clad bumpers and wheel arches. to show that this is the all-terrain version. And finally, here at the back, there's a little bit more difference than the standard E-Class. We have these extra, we have this bumper, which is a clear giveaway that this is meant to be an off-road. So we're not sure. I don't think that this was going to sell in large numbers. I think it's a very niche market that Mercedes is catering to. But it's certainly an interesting concept. So I'm here at Mercedes stall at the Paris Motor Show, and behind me is the Generation EQ concept. And this is Mercedes' all-new electric SUV. At the same show, they have also showed their other brand, Smart. Smart has also released some of their new electric cars as well. So electric cars seems to be a primary strategy for many manufacturers these days. This Paris Motor Show stands testament to this, because we have seen so many new electric cars being released in the show. Let's take a closer look at this car. The front is really, really spectacular with blue LED lights and that really translucent Mercedes three-spoke star in the front. Very clean lines, obviously no need for any air intakes. It's just simple, smooth lines and a very smooth, sleek bodywork. Even on the inside of the car, we see that Mercedes is also going forward with their new connectivity and technology. There are no mirrors for the sides. As you see, there's cameras and screens within the cockpit. So let's check out the inside from the back. There isn't even any door handle. All you have to do is tap this and the door opens. Inside, it's very futuristic, lots of ambient lighting, several more screens, touch screens for all the controls. Really feels like you're in the set of a Hollywood sci-fi movie. So let's take a look in the back. I'm not really sure how I can open this. Perhaps can't open this right now. No, doesn't seem to be that way. But anyway, this is just a concept car, and obviously none of this is going to be in production fully. Hopefully this is what Mercedes is going to plan for the future. This is the direction they're headed in, and we know that. We have recently seen their new urban e-truck from Daimler. But what we can expect in the near future are cars like these, which, as I mentioned, is Mercedes' sister brand Smart. So this is the Smart 4 electric drive car. And on the other side, we have the Smart 4 Cabriolet, again, electric drive. So on the inside, not too much has changed. So these cars seem more plausible in the near future. So I'm here in the Toyota stall at the Paris Auto Show, and behind me is the all-new CHR, which stands for the Coupé Highrider. And as you can see, it's another compact crossover. Well, I think it looks really edgy. The design is much more fresh and new and modern compared to the previous Toyotas. And this being a hybrid, I think it kind of resembles a little bit of the Toyota Prius as well. Let's take a look inside. Now this car is almost production ready, and let's see. Well, the cabin is quite spacious. I think it's pretty spacious for a car of this size in this segment. A lot of nice plastic trim levels. Material quality also seems quite nice. And this comes either with a front-wheel drive manual or a front-wheel drive CVT or even a four-wheel drive CVT. Now the build quality is quite nice. Let's take a look in the back seat, see how the back space. Well, the door doesn't open too wide, and the entry seems a bit narrow. Well, I have okay knee room. Headroom is also just barely adequate. So the back seat is definitely cramped. And as you can see over here, the rear quarter window is also extremely narrow. So it does kind of make you feel a bit claustrophobic. Let's check out the trunk space. Now this being a coupe, we have a very large boot. There's a significant lip though. Some under storage as well. The seats seem to fold in a 60/40 fashion. And as well, this car also comes with a very high quality JBL audio system. I think the back looks really edgy. In fact, it kind of reminds me of the new Honda Civic to an extent. Do you agree? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Here we see a black one. And there are several options for you to choose as well. There is the 1.2 liter petrol engine, which makes about 116 horsepower. And let's look at this color over here. This is a blue color. Now the 1.2 liter petrol comes with a 6-speed manual front-wheel drive or a 4-wheel drive CVT automatic. Let's go this way. Now this is the white car that we saw earlier. The hybrid car comes with a 1.8 liter engine as well. And this 1.8 engine is mated to a CVT transmission only. And this makes about 122, 130 horsepower. This is another color. This seems to be a gray color. They call it the Toyota CHR Hybrid Graphic Premium Pack. And over there on that side, we can see yet another color. So this seems to be a very fresh take on the Toyota design. And they aim to attract younger customers and who are more eco-friendly and environmental conscious with their hybrid technology as well. So I'm here at the Land Rover Discovery unveiling event in the Paris Motor Show, and here it is right behind me. This is the all-new Land Rover Discovery. Now, the Discovery Sport has been on sale for about a year now, but this is the flagship model in the range. It still features the conventional 3 rows of seats, but true to Land Rover's new ethics. The construction is completely aluminum and has a host of connectivity and latest innovative technology as well. So let's take a closer look at the car and let's see what's what. So here at the front, this does look very similar to the standard Discovery, but these two big air dams are certainly something quite new and give it a very striking appearance. The car bonnet line is also quite high, and very nice clean badging on the side as well. Large wheels, I think this is 21 inches, if I might be wrong. And then further down the line, really solid doors. Again, all aluminum construction, so lightweight, rigid, and that helps improve the agility which Land Rover cars are known for. And then let's continue to the back. So here we can see, this is the middle row of seats, and with the new Land Rover Connectivity app, you can program it to fold or recline as and when you want from your phone at any time. Now, when all the second and the third row of seats are completely folded flat, this loading area increases vastly and becomes a true utilitarian van of sorts. And this is another very common part of the Land Rover Discovery, their tailgate, which you can lower at the touch of a button, but it appears that this car does not seem to be working at the point of time. But nevertheless, I think Land Rover has yet another winner on its hand. Only time will tell if this does what the Land Rover Discovery Sport did to Land Rover previously. So this is the standard Land Rover Discovery Sport, which we've already seen before. And we really like this car. It's very versatile, can do a lot of things really well. And as you can see, right next to it is the all-new Discovery. And you can automatically notice that this is much larger than the Discovery Sport. Automatic tailgate, so this the battery is working, unlike the one we just saw previously. In the rear, you notice this asymmetrical tailgate, which kind of gives the impression that the tailgate swings out like a door, but no, it goes straight up. There we go. And like I was mentioning earlier, this loading tailgate can also be lowered electronically, like so. And all the seats as well can be controlled electronically and will fold flat to give you a very wide loading area. You can control this along with the infotainment and the air conditioning from your mobile phone app at any time. There we go. So now let's take a look inside the car. Very large door, but still very lightweight, thanks to the aluminum. A small step up, and you're greeted with a very nice peach brown color leather and very nice wood trim on the top as well. Really high quality materials, really high quality fit and finish in all the parts. And you can see several USB slots and HDMI slots, as well as power sockets here as well, to ensure that everybody has connectivity. Now, the Land Rover infotainment system, the new one, is actually quite nice. And this is the latest updated version of the same, so we can expect this to be really superior as well. All the buttons are large and chunky, which stay true to the Land Rover Discovery's ethos of being a tough off-roader. So now let's get into the back seat. Here in the back seat, you sit a little bit lower. My knees are a little bit higher, but it's not really uncomfortable. There's plenty of leg room, even with a 6-foot-tall adult in the front. There's a nice LED strip lighting as well. And I have air conditioning for myself. There's air conditioning controls, more power sockets, and even in the back seat, I can see that somebody of my size, perhaps 5'8", 1.7 meters, could fit in with a squeeze. So for a family, a large family, this is a perfect car. So the entry level for this Land Rover Discovery Sport starts around 34,000 euros. And if you want a really fully spec'd version, it goes up to 57,200 euros. Whereas for the all-new Land Rover Discovery, the starting price is about 50,000 euros. And if you want the fully loaded top-end spec version, it can even go up to 75,000 euros. So I'm here in the Lexus stall at the Paris Auto Show with Mr. Carlos Gonzalez and Mr. Koshi Kato. So, Mr. Carlos, you are the chief designer for the new Lexus Kinetic Concept seat. So can you tell us a little bit about what the seat is for and how you went about designing the seat?
Yeah, so this seat is a functionally driven design and is a purely engineering style. So it's not a stylist exercise, and every part of the seat has a function. So we were interested in making two things: increase the stabilization of the head and moderately refreshing core muscles to avoid fatigue. So then, working in collaboration with my colleague Koshi Kato, he's the main producer of the idea of the seat. We work together to how to create this function in a new seat. So let me just explain you briefly how it works. So the seat is designed to pivot. It's a movable seat that pivots the cushion from the center of the rear to the front to the rear center of the back. So that gives an axis of rotation. Can we? Yeah. So we did two things. So Koshi Kato started analyzing the body in motion. So when we walk, when we jog, our body is in constant rotation in opposite directions, upper body and legs. This helps us to keep the balance. So what we did is we analyzed and we understood where is this rotational axis happening, and we copied it to the seat. So that's the same axis of rotation that the cushion has. So in a way, this seat allows you to kind of rotate or move in the same way like when you walk and when you run. Now, why is that important? So this is very important because when we analyze the kinematics of a line change of an automobile, we can increase the head stabilization, but you can see how the pelvis is rotating in the kinetic seat versus the normal seat. So then this allows your body to do kind of this C shape with the spine, which keeps your head in the center. Why is that important? Because then your eyes are focused on the road and then you're looking towards the corner. So furthermore, this is the same analysis, same lateral acceleration. We can see how the head movement in this normal seat is considerably higher versus the kinetic seat that by allowing the rotation of the seat, your body is kind of adjusting itself and keeps your head stable. So in driving, this is the same slalom test, same speed, same driving angle, same lateral G. You can see how the lateral motion of the head is very different from the normal seat compared with the kinetic seat. So that's very, very important and one of the key benefits of this seat. Then in Nürburgring, the head toss is also decreases. So you can see in
During
this
the corner, there is the bumps, then head is going to have this kind of lateral vibration. This seat is gone.
So here you can see that when you hit the bump, in the normal seat, your head goes like boom, 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 right? Then in the kinetic seat, your body kind of adjusts and absorbs the energy that's coming from the road and allows you to keep more stable.
Well, really fascinating. So, Mr. Koshi, can you tell us? You're the chief engineer behind the seat.
Yeah.
So, how was this? How did you manage to build something this interesting? What were the challenges in terms of materials and engineering? And how long did it take for you to produce this?
We are still developing, and the point is we started how we can really make the car seat to more in line with our body, and that's one of my important tasks. So how we can really feel the vehicle total motion with the body, and we can really into driving. So why not install our spine function? Human beings have a very important spine function, as he explained. And having that spine function, okay, let's free the spine inside of the vehicle. That's the theory of this seat. Nowadays, all the vehicles are so much blocks. Even in sporty driving vehicles, everybody is blocking the function of the seat, the spine. So let's keep utilizing that spine function. So that was the main points that we have been tackling. And with this axis, and there are some important another axis at the center of the blade bone is here. We put the Spyder center, and with this Spyder center, the side support is changing at the top and the bottom. The upper part has more stable for the side support, and the lower part have a little more bit motion. And because of difference, you can this seat can automatically lean your body inside of the corner. Then you can really decrease the muscle stiffness of the cornering, even in a driving condition, a steep driving condition.
Wow, that's really cool. So, is this going to make final production anytime? When can we expect this?
We cannot. For the moment, we are still studying. We would like to know when you want to have this kind of a unique seat. From your point of view, what do you think about this motion, moving, and the stable eyesight? It's really changing the vehicle dynamics, your driving passion. What do you think about this? When do you want actually to make it happen in the actual market? We would like to also know. We are still in developing status.
So, well, my personal opinion, I think it's really interesting, and I can totally understand how this would totally make, the seating posture much more comfortable, much more natural, more like a motorcycle even, when you can lean your hips
Or
and
skiing.
Yeah, or skiing. But my only concern off the bat, when you talked about, on the racetrack at Nürburgring, is if the bottom of the seat is moving and your legs move, that could kind of distract the driver if he's trying to do heel toe or, with his pedal actions. But for our viewers, what do you think about this kind of a seat? Do you want this? When do you want to see this? Write down in the comments below. And thank you, Mr. Koshi, and thank you, Carlos, and all the best. Hello and welcome to another episode of Autogefuehl. This week, we're here in Paris to attend the Paris Motor Show, one of the biggest auto shows in the entire world. There's a bunch of new things to check out in this event, like, for example, this. This is the SEAT Ateca X-Perience. Now, SEAT has been having tremendous success with its all-new Ateca, and to build on this success, they have released this special edition Ateca X-Perience. Now this is not production ready, but as you can see, this is based on the standard Ateca. But what's different is, for example, the suspension is firmer, the ground clearance is raised, the car comes with off-road tires as well as an exclusive wheel design. Over here in the front, we can see that the car has a different front bumper, and this extends to the side skirts as well as the rear bumper. Now this color scheme is also very unique to this Ateca X-Perience model, and furthermore this is completely scratch resistant. So they're trying to improve the off-road ability of the standard Ateca. This car has a 2-liter diesel engine mated to a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. The 4-wheel drive is the Haldex 4-wheel drive system and the traction control. Now let's go look inside. On the inside, well, although it's very similar to the standard Ateca, the interior seats colors are also matching the exterior paint color, and we have special orange stitching which matches the color of the mirrors on the outside. Let's take a look in the back seat as well. Now this car is not completely production ready, but we have a good feeling that this could make it to production, and we can see it sometime soon. So I'm here with Mr. Sven Schauver from the SEAT Whole Vehicle Development Division. Thank you so much for being with us. So why did you deem it necessary to improve on the 4x4 version of the standard Ateca?
Yeah, thank you for coming to SEAT. Let's say when we initially started the press presentation with the new Ateca, we concentrated on the urban part of the Ateca, because that we know that most of the customers clearly will use this car in urban conditions. But it's an SUV, and an SUV clearly has an off-road aspect as well. And in this presentation we would like to focus more on this, and that's the reason why we presented this car, as you can see here on my right side. So this is with, let's say, a little more off-road applications, bigger wheels, olive matte color, some additional parts on the front and on the rear, and then all this to express a little bit more the off-road character of this car. And I can say that the Ateca, not only this Ateca, but only the normal one as well, is quite well under off-road conditions, and this is a basic message of this. And we are waiting for feedback from our customers to see, what is the response to this car, to decide whether we bring it in this this combination to the market or not.
Okay, so I take it that this is not production ready yet. So if it does come into production and you get good feedback from your customers, when do you plan to start rolling these out to the dealerships?
Yeah, if we decide to do this, I think we need half a year to bring it to the market. One important information is that some of these parts that you see that we added to this car are already available via accessories. So you have a variety of additional parts available for the Ateca, and some of these are today available. That's in the market. So our customers are in fact able to build up, let's say, a car that is quite similar to this one here. And the other things that we introduced here in this cars that we have to decide, and then yeah, maybe half a year, but depends on the feedback on the fair.
Well, thank you so much for being with us, and all the best.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Now, for more on this car, here's Thomas with an exclusive interview.
And now Thomas is joined by Luca De Meo, Seat CEO, and a very exclusive interview just for you. And we want to know, first of all, in general, the Seat Ateca, how has it changed the brand and the sales success?
Well, I think it's early to say, but certainly this product is bringing the old brand in a new territory. It's actually attracting new customers for the brand. I think for any volume brand in Europe to be successful in the SUV is now essential. It's a kind of a new interpretation of sportiness, and Seat has always been associated to the idea of being a sporty brand, dynamic and emotional. So I think it's a perfect car for us and also for the customer. That's why they're floating in, thousands to buy the product.
I've heard that you now have even some more elderly customers. So far with the Ibiza, for example, they own more younger customers, but a lot of people buying the Ateca full spec, also for reasonable prices, and does it still fit to the brand then?
No, I think we keep being one of the youngest brand in Europe, and we are very proud of it. And I think it's a tradition that we want to continue. This car normally are, at least at the beginning, attracting a certain kind of consumer. I think we're going to continue to position the car on the youth side, because that was what is coming to us more natural, let's say.
And now we see the car right here, the Ateca X-Perience, and we've already tested the Leon X-Perience. I think it was about 1.5 years ago. And why did you come up with a special model here also for the Ateca? What's the reason behind it?
But obviously, as you're saying, the people are buying a pretty high-spec product. So I think we should work to continue to kind of serve that demand. And so we will do other exercise like this. And we actually wanted to come to Paris also to get a feeling whether such a product like this would appeal to the consumer, to the media. And when we have concluded and make a summary of the things, we will decide whether it makes sense to do this, yes or no. But I have a good feeling about it.
So it's not 100% fixed that it will come as this way, but you probably will do it.
Yeah, I think this is one of the ideas that we have to keep, let's say, the emotion and the excitement around the product, and to serve the demand of people that are now buying in large majority product very high spec. Yeah, big engines, full spec, big wheels, cool colors, and which is, I think, is good. It's always a good sign.
What are the main features here on the X-Perience that you like best?
I think the design makes a lot of it. So I think we have bigger wheels. The design has more character. You have a lot of SUV parts. We change also the interior. We have a 190 horsepower diesel on that product. It's obviously the full spec is on that product, because it will be some high-end, let's say, specification of the product.
And I can also give you some feedback from our viewers, because a lot of people told us, oh, I've bought a Seat Ateca or I want to buy it, but in my market I can only get the combination this with this and this, about DSG or not, all-wheel drive or not, small diesel, big diesel. So people like to have a little bit more engine choices. I can give you that from our viewers as feedback. And looking to the future, will you maybe improve that point, that you can get more combinations for each market?
But maybe, the combination of engine, gearboxes, model, version, etc. at the beginning is always a little bit limited, and then slowly you get that each one of the production. So the reaction might also, let's say, depending on the fact that the physical availability of the product is not there. So we tend not to open it in the car configurator, etc. So I think if the car is successful, we can, look at some variation in the thing. Sometimes I have the feeling on some product we are even too complex. There are so many variation that that is difficult to it's difficult also for the consumer to choose. But in some more passionate people that really want a unique thing, they are looking on every details, and we are happy to serve them.
Okay, and so we might see more engine combinations very soon, and also the X-Perience. And in general, as a last question, where is the brand heading to? What's to come there? Maybe, of course, you cannot tell us everything, but maybe something. What's the brand heading to?
Look, for your public, I think it's important to understand that after many years, Seat is becoming a solid company from a financial point of view. So we have the resources to invest into the future. We will, let's say, experience in the next 18 months after the Ateca, I think the biggest product offensive of the history of the brand. There will be 3 new products coming in the next 12 months. So I see 2-3 years of, let's say, the brand developing in the right direction. And when you have that kind of feeling internally, when you work in an organization, in a sport team, that you're starting to win, then you come into the field with a completely different attitude. And what we want to take the advantage of this time, of these years, to really think at Seat that is still a young brand, that is still a dynamic brand, is an emotional brand from the south, etc. But all the discontinuity that are happening in the automotive industry give to a brand like us, some kind of challenger brand, opportunity to position itself as a front runner, maybe on one of the fields. I am a personal believer that the whole story of the connected car is very relevant. So the idea of putting our product into the center of a digital world will make the experience completely different for consumer. And as we have younger consumer, they will probably be some of the first adopter. And so that's one of the fields we are exploring, we're organizing ourselves, we are investing in, we are developing. So maybe we keep in touch and we'll see each other next time and maybe have more concrete story to tell you.
We will definitely. Thank you very much. Mille grazie.
Prego.
So we spent a great deal of time here at the Seat stall today at the Paris Motor Show, and I personally really like this car. I think it has, a lot more to offer than the standard Ateca version for people who really want a more off-road capable car. And we're really interested to see what you guys think about it, our viewers. So please do comment in the please do write your comments in the comment section below and tell us, do you think this car should come into the market, and why do you think it's a good idea, or why do you think it's a bad idea? We want to hear from you. So one of the major prevailing themes of the 2016 Paris Auto Show is electric drive, connectivity, and mirror linking with your phone and the car. And to get an in-depth look at the new technology and emerging trends in the market, we're going to spend a lot of time here at Seat and talk to their top directors and CEOs, and they're going to give us their first-hand knowledge and demonstrations with especially with the Seat Ateca. Are you interested? Let's go. So I'm here with Leire, who is the head of the Seat Connected Car and Infotainment. Thank you so much for being with us. So can you briefly describe what makes this new system in the Ateca unique, innovative, and different from the competitors?
In the Seat Ateca, we have now an 8-inch display, colorful and with many connectivity new functionalities. We offer the technology full link. With this technology, you can plug into your phones with the infotainment system and control your phone in a very safety way from your display. Yeah? It's compatible with Android devices and with Apple devices. Therefore, on top of that, Seat is not just offering the technology. We have also developed an infotainment app. It's called the Drive app. Yeah? I can show it to you, the Drive here. With the Drive app, the phone is connected with your car, and you can have some information about your car status in your phone. This means, like, imagine you are at home and you are driving tomorrow for the weekend far away. You can check in your phone if everything's all right, if there is a failure or whatever, and also control your petrol level. Yeah. So in order that you can plan in advance if you have to go to the station before leaving or not. Yeah. I can also show you like the Android version. With the Ateca, you just have to plug in the phone, and as well as the CarPlay version, which is the one compatible with iPhones. Here, it's now being connected. This is full link. It's the technology which we are talking about. Yeah. With this application, you have information in both senses. So this means when you are at home, you can have data, as we saw in the CarPlay version, from your car status, petrol, or whatever. And then while driving, you can also have access to your phone details. So I can control in a very safety way. Sorry, I have to. Yeah. you can control in a very safety way some information from your phone. For instance, social media. Yeah, you can have access to your Facebook account, to your Twitter, and you can read out your emails and then also answer them per voice. So we really care for safety, which is one of our priorities. And we won't allow you to have to write down on the screen, but we allowed you to, they will read the messages out and you can also answer them per voice. This is the Drive app, which has the contents related to the car. So you can have some tracks recorded and then watch them when you're at home, have a Challenger, vehicle status, which we saw before, and you can have this access to your social media. We also want to personalize the infotainment system of our cars. So that's why we also develop some personal gestures where you can say which gesture goes with which action. That means, for instance, this one, which is a circle, means that I will jump to another menu. Or this one, sunrise, it's sending an SMS to whoever person, or just calling someone, yeah? What we also have made here in terms of personalization is making sure that everybody can have its own desktop. This means I can go here and, for instance, change the background of my infotainment system, put another color, or even have my own picture in the car, like having my kids as a wallpaper. I can also change the widgets and get some new widgets, so that in the end I'm personalizing my own car and having here my functionalities, or the ones which I use most.
Okay, all of this sounds really interesting. And is all of this already in production, or are you going to roll this out within next year, or what's the timeline?
It's already in production, so Full-Link it's available, and not only in the Seat Ateca but also in all other Seat models, because we really think that connectivity is not something that, just for one target of customers. Connectivity should be available for every customer, because we believe that being always connected is something which our customers, our drivers want to be. So therefore we are offering Full-Link in all over range, yeah?
Okay, well, that's very interesting. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks to you.
I'm here with Mr. Fabian Zimmer. He is the chief of the digital for Seat. So Mr. Fabian, thank you very much for being with us. So what are the new innovations that Seat is working on, for example, in this car, the Seat Ateca X-Perience, in terms of digitalization and connectivity?
Well, digitalization in general for Seat is obviously a very important topic, as it is for the rest of the industry, because we think it's the biggest disruption that the car manufacturing industry has encountered over the 130 years of history of the car itself. So therefore, Seat has prepared itself and has put together a digital organization within Seat, which is based in 3 different pillars. One is connected car itself, and we have connected customer. Everything is digitalization around the customer. Then we have a 3rd pillar, which is new business models, which is basically who has to take care in order to monetize all the new digital initiatives that we are working on.
So, like for example, the innovations that you're talking about, when can we see this production ready and implemented in the cars?
Well, Seat has been in the past already one of the leaders with regards to connectivity. So we have been one of the first car brands to introduce a Full-Link system where we can have the smartphone integration within our cars. And recently, 1 month ago, we launched a Seat app for Apple CarPlay. It was actually the first manufacturer in the world who did that. And now we are working on different functions and services with which the connected vehicle allows us to offer to our customers.
And finally, how important is connectivity to Seat's business strategy overall? And where do you see this going in the future?
Well, I think it's a complete change of mindset, and it offers a huge bunch of opportunities for us, because basically it's like when you compare with the mobile phone industry. When you look at a telephone of 20 years ago, what you could do with that was just talking on the phone. And when you look at last model smartphone, all the opportunities you have, they are immense. So we are obviously looking into that in order to offer that to our customers.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
A first preview of the Audi Q5, the all-new generation exterior and interior. Now on Autogefuehl, the Paris Motor Show coverage, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars with Thomas. And it's already just 1 week left and we will drive this car for you exclusively. But here the very first look in the exterior. Let's start in the front with the huge single frame grille. It looks a little bit like a smaller Audi Q7. Accentuations here on the hood, design lines forming this power dome in the middle, and the top LED headlights in the highest spec we have here with the new LED signature. So a very crisp, sharp look from the front. Definitely stronger, more aggressive than the predecessor generation. And there are a lot of people covering this car at the moment. We'll try to show you as much as possible. Come around the side profile. 4.66 m or 15'3" is the total length of this vehicle now. It's a little bit longer in all of its dimensions, also in the wheelbase. You can see it right here. The rims here, 20-inch. They start from 17, but that will look a little bit too balloonish. Then it goes up to 21-inch, but that's maybe not too comfortable. So I would probably go with 19. Here the 20-inch in a two-color scheme. This is the S-line, we're saying right here. Very interesting color. There will be 14 colors available. New colors, for example, like this turquoise-like color. It's really something different, definitely. Design line above the door handles, pretty much the current Audi shape, also resembling to the A5. And the classic SUV layout, I like that. I like classic SUVs. See all of the window lines, they are pretty steep. Overall, a very elegant design, especially with the contrasting roof rails. And what about the weight? This car has lost almost 100 kilograms, so about 90 kilograms of weight if you compare it to the predecessor. Will also have more performance, soon more also about the engines of the car. Even more news will be in the interior. We'll get to that one very soon. And the rear, not so much has changed if you compare it to the predecessor generation, but the taillights with a 3D effect. Now you can also feel it really. Here also an LED technology. So a lot of joyful elements here. And we can take a look at the trunk with the electric hatch now. What is interesting that everything of this, all of the lights, they open with the car. Very interesting. And you see there's nothing left here. And that also ensures you a wide opening space right there. Then the cover here. It's good that we have rails on each side. That makes clean opening and closing of this cover right there. Let's take a look beneath it. So there could be, wow, is it a concept replacement tire? It looks like just the top of the tire. Very interesting. So, and then we can also flip the seats from here. Let's see if we don't squish someone. Yeah, at the moment we would, but you can already flip the seats from here. Shall I do it, guys? Shall I be the very evil Thomas and squish those guys? Nah, I'm not that evil. Not now. And then interesting, you can also use the air suspension to lower the car here for loading and to put it a little bit higher again. This is also one special thing. It does not come from Seabury equipment, of course, but optionally, an air suspension is available for the new Q5, and that is done together with the Mercedes GLC and the Porsche Macan, the third compact SUV with an optional air suspension. And now we can flip one seat here, or at least the 1/3 or the 2/3. That's it here, and we got an. It also is fixed now, even loading space, very well usable. And you can also release the middle part here just of the seat. Let me show you that. First I have to learn how to unleash them again. This is very interesting. There it is. Oh, practical solution with a lever. There it is, also usable as a ski hatch. You can just put the middle part down, so they have thought about that. Then the new interior. This car will be built in Mexico, by the way, in a new plant in the federal state of Puebla. Aluminum inside here of the door. There will be other panels available. Nice microfiber here. Great build quality here already with a pre-production car. Bang & Olufsen sound system and space at the inside of the doors. Then the typical Audi build quality here on the inside. A clean atmosphere, a very clean atmosphere.
It will also start with cloth seats, which are my favorite. Here again, the full highest trim level in display. Well, that's what the manufacturers do. I would appreciate lower trim levels, but that's what they do. The S Sport seats we have right here. There's new and more space in the interior, and I'm one with this 86 or 6 with 1 for all our non-subscribers. And you have this typically high seating position for an SUV. The front screen is not that flat, and you can put also the seat a little bit higher. Here the electric controls, very comfortable seating position, and a lot of headroom even for tall people. That won't be a problem. The steering wheel will also be adjustable electronically in this case, in the lower trim levels than in a manual version. The single frame grille from the front is repeated here at the inside of the steering wheel, and the S-Line also in the interior package. And the new Q5 will also feature the Audi virtual cockpit. Let's see if we can activate it. Yeah, there it is. And that means everything can be adjusted, but the basis trim level will start with analog gauges. You can get those ones as well. So you can adjust RPM, meter and speed, for example. And there will also be the GPS view inside here. If not, GPS is here. This looks still a little bit attached. Soft plastics at the dashboard. Again, a great finish, and my favorite are, again, those clicking climate unit buttons, really my favorite. This is the biggest screen that will be available, and there is a crystal clear display. You control it basically not via touch, but still with this MMI touch, MMI control knob in the center part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 hotkeys for favorite, and then you can also write, for example, something on this. Use tabs and use this one here as a touch and write pad. For example, if you want to enter an address, something like that. You can see it right here. I'm writing here, it's like B, O, and I want to go to Bordeaux. And you see up in the screen, I'll write the next R, and the screen is realizing, and I can go to Bordeaux, for example. And this car will also feature the infotainment options that you not only can connect the Bluetooth telephone like this here over that menu, you will also be able to use the Audi smartphone interface, and so also everything in German. And here you can also connect it later on with the Apple CarPlay and stuff. So this vehicle will also feature that one. Then automatic gearbox, as I told you, most of them are dual clutch transmissions. Just the 3-liter diesel will have a massive converter gearbox. Then here, for example, for the key, inductive charging of smartphones is in the middle console. That is possible if you see the symbol. Again, everything optionally. This car will start at 45,000 euros in Germany, but as the car is standing right here now, it's surely about 70,000 with all of the extras. You can also here cool or heat your beverages in here. At least it looks like it would be for the right box. Not sure if the left one is also heat or coolable, because this one here looks, you know, from metal. This one is surely heat or coolable. Nice feature. Last seen it on the GLE in the Mercedes. And then great build quality here again, even on show cars. Everything is fixed. 2 USB slot, 1 aux in, and some more space right here in the middle console. And let's get in the rear, as I have the seat mounted as I would be driving, and looks like a good package, a lot of space. This car is almost as long as the Skoda Kodiaq. Just comparable in a way, definitely. And I've shown you that. Here, this is the lever here for the rear seat, and I can flip it right here. So that would be the option to flip the seat. I'm, however, interested if I can, I can a little bit change the angle of the seat by that, also to maximum of this. So this would be a really upright seating position, and it feels really spacious here. And you can put it a little bit farther down. So overall, a good result here for rear passengers, definitely. And this is also new now for the Q5. You can move this front bench to put the trunk larger. I think over 1,500 liters is the maximum capacity if you fold everything down. Then you can also move it back again to have more knee space, as I would need it right here. There's also a 3-zone climatization available. You can see it. I'll make space for you right here. This is then the 3-zone climatization if the engine would be turned on. Also seat heating for the rear seats optionally available. And then here, well, rear passengers smoke in the new Q5. Not really, but here it's built in. And finally, for the rear passenger comfort, you can have some beverage holders right there. And yeah, that's about it. And here again, I can also put the single seat in the front and back again. Overall, the biggest difference I see is the digitalization of the cockpit and also more space, especially for the rear passengers, and more flexibility. And what will we have under the hood? This is a TFSI, mostly about in the 150, 190 horsepower ranges, those 2-liter 4-cylinder engines, a 2-liter TFSI, turbo petrol engine, or a 2-liter TDI. The maximum power output of this one here will be a 2-liter version with 258 horsepower. And then, besides the 2-liter diesel, there will also be the 3-liter diesel, which can also have a bigger horsepower, output about 280 horsepower. The only engine, the 3-liter diesel, will be combined with a converter automatic gearbox. Those here, either manual or also with a dual clutch transmission. So recently we have tested a lot of compact SUVs and a lot of good ones. The all-new Volkswagen Tiguan, we'll drive the Skoda Kodiaq. We've tested the Porsche Macan GTS, for example, the Mercedes GLC, the GLC Coupé, the BMW X4. Really so many good SUVs on the market in the compact segment and also especially in the premium segment. How will the Q5 perform? So what we see so far is really promising and elegant, but still easy exterior. So not too joyful, rather conservative, but it has a lot of style still because it is that elegant. And the interior looks very flexible and also again with a high build quality. Let's drive this car, guys. And when we drive it, I will link it also here in the video description. Stay tuned for that. Subscribe to Autogefuehl if you haven't done so far. And also join more of our Paris Motor Show coverage. Thank you very much for watching. A special Paris Motor Show coverage of the all-new Audi A4 in the sporty form. Here's the S5 Coupé, and we will also see the S5 Sportback. So this video is about Coupé versus Sportback. We'll show you the difference, especially as for the rear versatility, and talk about a lot of different details. Today's Setaway, we have this test vehicle at the moment also available for driving. So the driving review is also to follow very soon. Let's now focus on Coupé versus Sportback and also some more background on the interior build quality, which Audi has been famous for in the recent years. Let's go. Signature of the new front is that all of the lines are flowing towards the front grille. You see it right here, and this is the biggest change from the original model, which was introduced in 2007 by Walter da Silva, famous automotive designer. And the original A5 was one of my favorite design cars. Here it's of course a little bit newly designed, and I have to get used to it, I have to say, but the front grows new, especially with this huge single frame grille here in the S version with accentuated lower bumpers. What a crisp side profile we can see right here with this dropping line that goes all the way, you see, from the headlights all the way to the rear of the car. And that makes this car so beautiful because there are not so many design lines here, just a few. And we can see also how light and shadow are divided. Very beautiful. The S line, or also the S5, the true S model, also has this stronger side bumpers and bigger rims. 19-inch is the maximum usually, and we can always read on the tires, because this one here says 20. I'm not quite sure, because usually for the A4, A5 model, 19 is maximum. We also have 19 on our test vehicle at the moment mounted, but this one's here 20. Well, obviously in a special demand it's also available, but 19 will be enough, definitely. And what's also interesting here is that the door handles, they open a little bit to the upper side. Interesting feature also in a contrasting way. And then this is the Coupé style, so it means 2 doors, longer, about 6 centimeters shorter than the Sportback in the wheelbase and also in the length. Not too much of a difference, but of course we have a more beautiful line here. But let's look very soon at the Sportback, if they can also manage to do that with 5 doors. But first of all, look to the rear with horizontally drawn tail lights. Now all available with LED technology. The rear view camera will be placed right here. Also, this whole tail end has been made a little bit stronger if you compare the original generation of the A5 and in the S5. Massive exhaust, 1, 2, 3, 4 pipes. Let's get inside here again. Really unique how they created door handles right here. Long opening here for the Coupé and Coupé windows, of course. Then the interior here in the bright styling. The S Sport seats are the 3rd level, and they are basically 3 seats. Standard seats for the A5. Then there are sport seats which come with the S5 and optionally S Sport seats with integrated headrests. Another look at them very soon. Here the cockpit, flattened lower part, structured on the left side, corner stitches on the inside. Carbon fiber is the scheme here in the S5, and in normal A5 you get aluminum, wood or also piano lacquer that is available there. The Bang & Olufsen sound system is mounted right here with Alcantara surface on the inside. We would like to see more Alcantara also on the seats. At least the sport seats can be got in the Alcantara in the middle and then leather on the outside. That's at least a step forward. You can lengthen the seating area. In general, the seats offer you a lot of space for a sports car, and you feel a little bit different than in the A4 indeed. You feel that the car is a little bit sportier also with this front pillar, although both cars are technologically pretty much identical. Then a lot of headroom still left, 1.86 m or 6'1" for my height. And overall, definitely a good and comfortable seating position. I've already driven the car now for the front passengers. Of course, the main question is also how much space will there be left in the rear. First of all, just a little bit more to the instruments, because there it is. Digital cockpit here, you do not have to get it, it's optional. And then you can have this 12.3-inch screen where you can have different view modes. Also, you can get the GPS information there. And here we also have Google Street View on the screen as a demo mode right now at the moment. So, and this would be then the GPS view. It looks a little bit attached, doesn't it? So, my favorite is here the climate unit. It's not powered at the moment, but with those Audi laboratory sounds. And we talk soon to a supplier from Audi, because we want to know more about how they can manage to keep up this extremely high build quality also with the buttons. Then let's get in the rear here, and you can see even on those sports seats, you can first of all flip them like this, and then there's an electric button, you can flip them a little bit to the front. But I want to remember how they were as I would be seating. It would be like this, and first of all I want to get inside and then show you how much space there is left when I draw the seat back again, because that's a very relevant question. So it's of course not that easy to get inside here in the Coupé, and headroom wise it is limited. I mean, I'm hitting my head on the ceiling. I can sit here as an adult still, but I would have to lean forward a little bit. Then if I got the seat back again, I think I would be driving like this, and it still does work somehow. I've tested it. This would be approximately this position I could be still driving. So it does work with my knees. Surprisingly, this was a little bit increased, the knee room, if you compare it to the predecessor generation. That's a step ahead, but of course not the most versatile solution. Looking forward, how big is the difference really when we enter the Sportback? Then the trunk opens like this, flips out almost automatically. And for a mid-size coupe, very well usable. I was quite surprised by that. Here we find the battery. Could there be a full replacement tire? I doubt that. Maybe a smaller one. Then we can also flip the seats from here. And, well, they don't fall down automatically, at least here. But here there's a split. It's very interesting. Like this. That's for the middle part. And, well, the sides, they're just obviously released from here. They don't fall down automatically. You can push them from here. There they are. And then you got a quite versatile interior for such a coupe. More horsepower to this engine, 350 horsepower now from this V6, and the styling of this one here is of course the best match when you also have the red interior color, and got the acceleration then below 5 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers or 0 to 60 miles an hour. Pretty impressive. And you can also soon hear that engine on Autogefühl. And now to the crowded Sportback variant, and it's really amazing how much attention this car arouses just because it has 2 doors more. It's about 6 centimeters longer. Here it is also in the S version, so the S5 Sportback in this Nardo grey color, matte grey. Interesting finish definitely, and of course we want to know how does it look like from in front. Pretty much the same. But what about the side profile? There it is, the front door is a little bit shorter, as you can see right here. Then there's another door right here. And it's interesting is that the frame in the Coupé, for example, that is ending straight here and then going down like this. Here they've raised it a little bit up, like in an A7. So it looks like a smaller A7. And you can see they've still managed to give it a very elegant line. And look how crisp this design is here still on the door, on the just right over the door handles. Very interesting. So I would like to know from you guys, which one, maybe scroll back to the Coupé, which one do you like best from the design? Coupé or this one? I do like the Coupé, but I also like this one. I'm not quite sure yet. Both have something. This one here looks a little bit more massive, a little bit more sovereign, although it's just 6 centimeters longer. But the Coupé looks a little bit sportier, definitely. But you cannot say that this one does not look sporty. So overall, I think they have managed it very well. And of course, the main difference will be in the interior as for the space. The trunk is about easier access. That means we have still a lot of space, even more a little bit. But the Coupé does offer a lot of space on the trunk. That's not it. But here, the access is really easy. And that is, of course, something that definitely speaks for the Sportback variant, so you don't have this limited hole to put all the stuff in. It's really the biggest advantage. Now to the interior of the S5 Sportback. They use animal skin surfaces here because they think that is the most luxury on display, which is not the case. Then let's take the seat, as this will be important for the rear part. The seat form itself is comfortable, although it's a sports seat with more comfort. Also, this diamond quilting has been beautifully done, but could also have been done with leatherette. Then, that is one of the most attractive parts here. You can also have this matte aluminum style, very elegant and modern at the same time. I think I would even prefer that one over the carbon fiber style, definitely. So that one here for the front, it's basically all the same, of course, than in the Coupé version. The question is really, what do we have in the rear? And excuse me, so I go through here right now, and yeah, exactly. So space in front of my knees here, so that's really way more comfortable. And for the headroom here, the rear raises a little bit in the ceiling, and that makes it possible that I can also sit here. So for me as a rear passenger, this is really perfect, 1m86 or 6'1". Really nice, and this does perfectly fit, and this is the big difference also to the S5 Coupé, if we can compare it here, Coupé and the Sportback variant. Here we can also have some armrest, some space right there. Beverage holders maybe should be flipping out. Yeah, they should be right there. There, 1 and 2 beverage holders. There it is. So a very comfortable position here for a mid-size car. And if you want versatility, tall people in the rear, then you should go for the Sportback variant. I think in Germany maybe more people will go for the Sportback to have this flexibility and this estate-like hatch we can also see for the versatility here. That was very interesting, definitely here. And let's move back to the Coupé once more, because we want to know more about the interior finishing. And also here we want to deliver you more background information on the interior, because the interior build quality is what Audi is recently made of, and of course they're relying on different suppliers for the different parts of the car. And Mark van Solingen is interior design director here for the seating at Faurecia, and he knows more about how to keep up this quality. And maybe you can give us some examples what you have done here for the Audi A5, or in this case S5.
Well, thank you. If we speak here about the seats and the relationship we have with Audi, we speak about consistency, long-term working together on reaching the detail, especially in the quality in the details. Now, premium is all the details right, and technology brought in a very simple way, so that at the end you can appreciate all the little details on the seat, and that all together gives you this feeling of it's more, it's premium, it's something extra. But that means a long way working together to get all those details exactly where we want. And that's this relationship we have with Audi, where we're really proud of, because that makes us delivering premium seats, and that is giving us also the learning together with them in making the best seats we can make.
For example, here in the S5 we got those sports seats, the optionally available sports seats mounted. But still, usually all of those sports seats are just focused on the driver, but you have left something out here on the rear of the seat. You can see that there's even some more space in the rear for the rear passengers. Was that intentionally?
Yes, of course. In the package of these sport cars, there's always not enough space for everything. So in these cars, the driver is the number one, but still you want to be able to bring someone comfortable with you. Now, it's not a super sports car, it's a sports car where you can take people with you. And therefore we really design on the back of the seats everything to create still the maximum of knee room, and to make people feeling comfortable, and making people seeing also that we have thought about them and we did not completely forget it. Now, that's the difference between pure sport cars and of course sport cars which are made by a brand like Audi, where it's more than just the driver.
How much more effort is it to produce parts for a premium car, and maybe you can quantify it somehow, like is there much more time involved, is there much more development involved? How can we conceive this difference?
That's a very good question, because actually that's exactly a big difference. You have Audi is very disciplined in their way of working on the long term. So we are very early involved, and from the day we are involved, we really know together what we want to achieve. That means it's a consistent, step-by-step approach to get this final seat on the level where we are. And that's helping a lot, because a lot of change in between the processes for nice features and nice things will also damage at the end the quality, and that's not what Audi is looking for and waiting for. They want to have everything done perfectly. But it's not only in general, it's also about all the underlying levers. No? The foam we have at Audi, the foams are dual density foams, which are, let's say, designed really in a way that it's exactly giving you the support where you need it and giving you the softness where you need. And then if we all bring this together, that's at one hand, it's of course the final consumer who we are looking at, and Audi is looking at, to have the right foam, the right position. But then we have to bring it together in a way that it's also working, and all the sewing lines, etc., that we can guarantee that they are every time the same, that they every time parallel, and they every time bringing the right quality level. And especially with the sport seats, that's very important, because you see on the seats we have contrasting stitches. no stitches which are highlighting, and you see them immediately. If you make a mistake on one of those red seams, like for example in this sport version, you immediately would jump in your eye and you would, let's say, be disappointed by the quality. And that is really important, that everything is on the same level. And that's what I said before, it's about consistency. No, it's not about making one thing good and forget of the rest. No, Audi and the way of working with them is making every detail on the right level.
Thanks for this insight. Now we know more about how, just on each single part, the higher quality on the built interior here is achieved. And that's of course just one part of the car. Coupé or Sportback, it's up to you. Both of the cars, I think at the moment, one of the most beautiful cars overall on the market, even though I still have to get used a little bit to the new front, but still from design perspective, one of my favorites, and also from the interior build quality. From the versatility aspect, it's no question, go for the Sportback, and you won't have any big disadvantages because it's a little bit longer, just more advantages in the trunk and also on the rear seats. The question is the Coupé looking that much more sporty? We want to discuss this with you in the comments here on Autogefuehl with Thomas. Another special coverage from the Paris Motor Show. And check out the next video here with the exclusive coverages. The all-new Peugeot 3008, really anticipated vehicle here at the Paris Motor Show. And we're showing it to you exclusively on Autogefuehl, the #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and the #1 community to discuss cars with Thomas. Starting here at the front, this is the new front with the huge front grille, and it stands very much upright, and this is also the signature change, because so far it has been a van stylish car. Now it's a true SUV. We can already see that from the outside here with big 19-inch rims. You get them in the GT trim level, which we'll also take a look at some different colors and other trims very soon. Here also an optional 19-inch rims, huge ones. And let me close just the door. Hello. Goodbye. That's the side profile, 4.45 meters or 14'6". See, rather conservative in the side profile, not playing around too much, accentuations at the lower part right there. And then this is interesting because we got a kind of flying roof. You see that with the black parts right here, that looks like the roof would be flying in the air. Very interesting concept, and I will looking forward how it will also look inside. Let's now turn the car further. It's always a practical solution if not too many people run through the camera. Because now we come to the rear, and that is interesting because we have those claw taillights. They stand out pretty much, and I would like to know what you think about the design of the Peugeot 3008, especially with those taillights here. So from the front, I think really likable. With the rear, I think I have to get used to it. This stands out a little bit too much, I think, maybe. Well, what's your opinion here on the new 3008? First exterior overview, and we got a lot of vehicles here on location, so we can show you some more of it very soon, also in different colors. And let's get inside. First of all, the doors, like a solid impression. And then here on the interior, what can we see? It's really interesting, definitely. It's something completely new. We have some elements we have already seen from other Peugeot cars. For example, the very small steering wheel. But it has been once again adapted. It looks like it would be upside down a little bit. But I think it promises good driving fun. Really looking forward for that, definitely. And it's also, for example, fun in the 308 in that compact car. Also here in the middle console, we soon give you some more detailed shots. We have a airplane cockpit style, which also click the buttons. and it will all be concluded then with the infotainment screen. It stands out a little bit, and there will be a combination between those hotkeys right here and then the infotainment screen control. Also digital instruments, at least here in a top trim level. Well, also interesting that at the inside of the doors we got a nice and soft cloth also here at the lower part of the dashboard. Great solutions, definitely. And we also have an interior special with a supplier that explains more about the surfaces we will soon see in cars. Very interesting, and I think a great solution. Also this plastics here, there has a structure and it's also not really hard, but a little bit softened up. So overall it makes a good impression from the first build quality. A massive gear shifter right there, adaptive beverage holders, and then in the middle part that reminds us a little bit of Mercedes because they have a similar process here. And also if you can compare to other Peugeot models, it really looks like this here would be a stepping up the game car. So my first impression is I'm really impressed by the quality they're offering here, and also by the styling, because it's something really extraordinary. You know, a lot of curved lines used. It's not that we say, let's make it simple, make it clean. This is really a screaming out cockpit, but at the same time it has a lot of styling. Or what's your opinion? Now the close-ups here, I think it's an interesting design idea. Here, for example, seat heating, and those ones are the hotkeys for the infotainment system to get to the menu, for example. You cannot click them from below, just from the upper part. Phone hotkey here for car settings, and the GPS hotkey. And this one would be the climate function hotkey right here, and also the music hotkey. We can take a look at what does it change in the infotainment screen. And there it is. For example, the climate unit, you press the button then once in the lower part, and then you control it here with the screen. Yeah, you don't have many buttons left. Some say that's good. Some say they really want to have a knob still for the temperature. You don't have it here. So this would be here to increase or lower the vents. Let's take a look at the GPS, which is in a demo mode at the moment, running through Paris. As it looks right now, yeah, it lags a little bit behind. So at least in this version, I'm not sure if it's just because it's a pre-production model, but it doesn't look too fast. Maybe it's the demo mode, but we've seen definitely GPS which were reacting faster. What is the case that the GPS screen is really huge now in comparison to earlier models, but it stands really out, like popped up here, and so it's not that well integrated in the interior. And then to the main menu or the app view, because connectivité, c'est le français, par Apple CarPlay ou MirrorLink. So this would be the connexion de votre équipement. So it would be the connection to your smartphone. You can plug it in the USB port then. So this is also available with the new Peugeot 3008. And the digital cockpit we can have here, I'll search in some other cars, but I'm pretty sure that the standard version will just come with a manual or with an analog one. But we'll find out more about that later. Here at least the digital cockpit, speed in the middle part, then some information on fuel on the right part. And the left side, for example, information about infotainment or maybe assistance system, and you can also change that. Wow, with some fancy animations here, for example, with the GPS inside. So really attacking this digital cockpit stuff. Let's see here, what else can we do with that? That's more classical way. GPS on the right and the analog digital and speedometer on the left side. Minimal. Let's see how that changes. Really interesting to see. You can play around with that really a lot. That's just to have the limited view on the kilometers per hour, or you can just personalize your stuff where you want to have which element. And what is interesting with this car are the storage spaces. Glove box. Wow. So huge, really. Interesting. Then in front of the middle console, there's a USB slot, but also even more space. And there's also the simple option. You can get the inductive charging for your smartphone. Also room at the inside of the doors. And then, let's take a look right here. Incredible room in the lower middle console here. I mean, you can hide children in here almost. Wow, so this is one of the biggest surprises here, that we have so much space in the interior. But is it also true for the package of the car? So how much space we will have inside in the rear? As I would be driving as 1.86 m in height or 6'1". You see the back part of the seats have this sparing out part, so there's still room for my knees. And well, I could move the seat a little bit more in the front, that would work, so you have an impression of how much space is. Then, as for the panoramic roof, does exactly fit with me. If you need more headroom in the rear, you should leave out the panoramic roof then. So overall, for a compact SUV, it's pretty much okay, but we have seen better packages, as for what we have on the outside and space on the inside. But the storage spaces, they are really, really large. The seats you can already flip here from the inside, and this goes, it's a very light process. And you see you have a small gap to the rear part. We'll soon take a look at that one. 2/3, 1/3 split, and there will also be a ski hatch available. And what about the trunk? Let's see if we can open it right there. Manual one in this case. And you see there's optionally a cover available here, and then you will have an even loading service to the front. So at the moment it's removed right here, and you can also flip the seats from here like this, and they would flip down totally if the front seat would be a little bit more on the front. But you can see overall very versatile, and then you have some more space below that, for example for a replacement tire. I wonder if you could put this very exact cover a little bit higher. Yeah, it looks like. Well, doesn't it? So what about the engine range? We'll have 120 to 180 horsepower in total from petrol and diesel engines. And petrol engines will be 1.2 or 1.6 liter, and diesels 1.6 or 2 liters of displacement. And there's not a special engine cover available for that. Also, you have no hydraulic dampers. But I think the engine choices will be sufficient for this compact SUV. And some more colors and also interior variations I can already tell you so far. Let's first start with the colors. Here it's like the 3008 GT line. The other one was also GT. You see it's a same strong resemblance at the very front. Without a GT line you don't have such a hard contrast as the lower part. But here it is in white. Which color do you like best? There's some more others to come. And here you have a different seat setup also interior-wise, because they are also offering a lot of cloth seats. And here, a combination of cloth, and our information goes that far that it is cloth and a leatherette. It's a beautiful combination, and for example also good for the climate comfort. So a lot of interesting materials that are offered here again. And I want to stress it again, if you look at your side of the door, at the inside again, this is a sofa-like cloth material which looks very worthy and cozy at the same time. A strong red. Is this yours here? I think that does fit very well to the car, especially if you have it in a GT line, because the contrasting in silver and black also play a bigger role right here. And this is the interior choice with Alcantara or microfiber in a diamond quilting structure, again combined with the leatherette. Beautiful idea really, and also a lot of space, you can already see it, you have on the seat. And on the inside of the doors, here we have matte wood, open cell, very natural, great feeling, great styling, and I'm really amazed by that, because this is only usually in high-class premium cars, and we have it in a, let's say, normal compact SUV segment already. Perla Nera is called this color here. And it wouldn't be my favorite one, because I would more go for a strong color, but maybe it's yours. But what is interesting, you can't see it from the front, but if we soon take a look at the side profile, This special color is also called Coupe Franche, and this is a special edition which was also available for the 308 GTI to stress a contrast racing feeling. I'm not sure if it really fits to this SUV, but take a look for yourself. And my favorite color for today, a very strong blue tone. And overall, I think, what about this car? Well, an attractive exterior, now an SUV style, that will definitely boost sales, I'm pretty sure about that. Surprise on the interior is that we got a lot of huge storage spaces, and it seems to be a step up build quality and very nice solutions as for the materials on the dashboard, inside of the doors, and also for the seats. So a lot of great choices here, looks very promising. The package could have been a little bit better, so a little bit more space in the rear. That is what I have maybe wished, but it's also not one of the longest compact SUVs, more a rather short compact SUV, and then this also still quite okay. I hoped you liked this first insight here from the Peugeot 3008 and Autogefuehl. How will the future Volkswagen look like? It might be exactly this. This is the Volkswagen I.D concept car. It is shown here at the Paris Motor Show, and we are giving you an exclusive preview of this car. Volkswagen says this is our crucial car. This will define our future. And why is that? Well, let me give you an introduction of that, because at the moment Volkswagen is selling about 10 million cars a year, and they say that by 2025 we want to sell 1 million electric vehicles. And how will that happen? First of all, there's a strategy with the E-Up or the E-Golf. The E-Golf that, along with the newest facelift, will also have a range of 300 kilometers, just pure electric. And then the Volkswagen I.D. They say this concept, it's a concept car yet, but we want to build the car pretty much the same way as we're showing it here today. And that would mean the range here can vary from 400 to 600 kilometers, depending on the battery package you get. So a pretty interesting vehicle concept. And you see, in the front, there's no real air vent to cool something because there's no combustion engine inside. And this goes back also to the Volkswagen Transporter, the Bulli, or for example also the Volkswagen Käfer, the Beetle. Also they didn't have any front air vents, so there are still remaining heritage in this respect. Of course, it's a challenge for designers to do something new with electric cars, not to screw off some customers, but yet again invent something new. And what we see, for example, also with the front lights, that they have some animations. It can look a little bit like a human eye, because when the car will be shut off, there will also won't be the light, and it will look like a shut eye, like with the human. And when the car would turn on, it will make an effect like the eye would open. So they got some funny effects right in there also from the design already. Interesting is also about the basic dimensions, because this car here is about 13'4" long. That's 4 meters and 10. And that is 15 centimeters shorter than the Volkswagen Golf, so compact segment, but 13 centimeters longer wheelbase 2 meters 75, and that's almost the wheelbase of a Volkswagen Passat. And that also tells you a lot about the interior space you will have there. Another close-up look at the front, and here you can also see that those eye shades, they are moving sometimes, and this is also a scheme of this whole car. It pretends to be a little bit alive. And again, this special design with no open air vents to increase the optimization for the wind drag. This is all about wind efficiency. Also, you can see there are no side mirrors, and this is the same direction. It will be done with e-mirrors, because there are cameras on the outside that then will transport an image to the inside. Those will replace the normal side mirrors. And what will they do until 2020? Because in 2020 this car is supposed to be released, a little bit late maybe, but until that the new e-Golf with 300 kilometers range shall fill this gap. And then in 2020 this car should attack the electric market and also bring Volkswagen on the way to the goal in 2025. And also in 2025 they want to have this vehicle as an autonomous car on the road. Very interesting in the side profile, 20-inch rims, and again they are all the way covered, so to reduce the wind resistance once again. If you look at the whole side profile, there's no real B-pillar. This is also electric concept, and the batteries will be placed at the car bottom, and that means that the balance of the car will be almost 50-50, and there's also a low center of gravity, and that means those are characteristics of a sports car being here in a van stylish compact car. And of course there's no real long front hood, and that is the reason because electric cars do not need that. And you see by those panoramic windscreen in the front, they have managed that the car still looks like it has a longer front and doesn't look too bulky. And now perspective at the rear, and the rear window really resembles a normal Volkswagen Golf or Volkswagen Polo. I think that was done, you know, not to maybe annoy customers, the existing customer. They still see something of a resemblance to the existing cars. What you can see is that the rear lights are horizontally drawn to stress the width of the car, and overall there has been a big anxiety that electric cars will look too bulky and not elegant enough. But I think with this car they have managed it to relieve this anxiety. I think overall it's a really attractive looking car, especially in this white-blue color combination. So what will come into the series production? I'm not sure if those huge rims will come in that way. Also with the side mirrors, not sure about the regulations there in this case. But everything else is not that unrealistic. And what's behind the name of Volkswagen I.D? Well, you guys maybe know the Apple ID, and Volkswagen wants to create something similar. So this concept car is called I.D, but there will be a service providing called Volkswagen I.D. And that means, for example, with the Volkswagen I.D, every driver will be recognized, and it shall be recognized by the car itself. And then, for example, your favorite music is played by your car, the favorite ambient moods, and also your seating position, and everything according to your needs. And as soon as maybe your husband or your wife gets in the car, or maybe your son or your daughter, then she has another Volkswagen I.D, then is getting recognized by the car once again, and every parameter is again set for the driver. But also this is important for Volkswagen to get new revenues, because car sales in future will be less about selling the car as a hardware, but more about also selling car services around the car. And first look at the interior. I've told you the longer wheelbase makes it possible to have more space on the interior. And you see that the rear doors, they open exactly like this, so to the rear, and that makes space for a good entry then to the interior. See, there's a bright interior with cloth covers. Maybe Herbert Diess, Volkswagen brand CEO, listened to our interview last time. So I'm really pleased that we also have cloth seats here, because they also say we want to build more sustainable cars. And this concept here of the whole interior is called open space, so more space for all of the passengers. And now a more detailed look into the interior. Here at the inside of the doors you see a part of the ambient lighting that will also be according to the favorite Volkswagen I.D, and for me it would also be blue. What will be your color? If you look more towards the steering wheel, you can already see there are no real buttons left, just for the warning indicator lights. This will be the only button, and you see the steering wheel at the moment comes quite far into the interior. But when this car, in 2025, that's the plan, will be in fully autonomous mode, then the steering wheel move back a little bit more towards the dashboard, and then make a free way to have even more space in the interior. Also, what is interesting for the concept, if you look to the rear seats, there you can cinema-like flip the seats up, like with the Magic seats that Honda is offering, that you can load some high things in there. And you will also be able just to flip the seats normally, just fold it down, and then you will have a maximum space of 960 liters in the capacity in the trunk. What else will be interesting, if you more look again to the steering wheel, the autonomous mode will start, by the way, if you press the VW logo at the steering wheel. That will be very interesting. And if you hit maybe the throttle or the braking pedal, then the car will go back into normal mode again. And also a head-up display will play a vital role, that if, for example, can see arrows from the GPS right there where they are, for example, at an intersection, and not in the 2D style, but really projected where they are on the road. Very interesting concept. And again, of course, notable, you've seen it, the rear door, how it opens, that offers you an easy access for the rear passengers. And unlike in the BMW i3, the rear seat belt is not mounted at the inside of the doors, which is not very practical for, getting children in and out. Here it's mounted directly at the seat on the inside, and so that also creates no problems. And now we are joined by Jürgen Stackmann, Vice President Marketing and Sales for the Volkswagen brand. And of course, we want to know, I think this is not only a new car, a new concept car for you, this is also a change of the identity of the whole brand, or what's behind it?
Yeah, we are really, really excited to be in Paris to show the world what we've been working on so hard for over 1 year. We're now taking a huge step and commitment of the Volkswagen brand into an electric future. This car is not a normal show car. It's a car that actually shows where our technology is going to, which we really want to bring to the market and excite our customers with. This car is going to be a full electric car. Will never have a sort of an internal combustion engine, so no petrol, no diesel. It's really created to take the opportunity of having only electric drive. What you see here behind me is a car smaller than a Golf. It doesn't look like that, but actually it's small in dimension than a Golf, with the inside package of a Passat. So you can sit in the front row, cross your knees. It's a car that actually is obviously fully connected, has a full new, basically electric system that actually allows you to really get fully connected to your environment. It has a fantastic drive feel, like our electric cars do have. It's really, really fun to have. And I think foremost, it's going to be a typical Volkswagen. Affordable for many. It's going to be a car that actually should be on the shopping list of our future Volkswagen drivers and owners, and can really replace a normal car in the household. Fully functional, really affordable, long range. So we're really, really excited to take the step, not only with a show car, but actually with a firm commitment from the brand that Volkswagen is going electric.
Such electric cars, they usually look a little bit different than normal cars, especially not with these long hoods, which we are, all accustomed to, and also about, loading up the vehicle, about the range. What can you do, also maybe also in your field of marketing, for example, to raise the acceptance for this very vehicle in 2020 for the customer?
I think you have to describe the stretch in which we find ourselves and those customer base for the future really, really well. I think people want something exciting, they want something new, and I think we've given our design team a real challenge to really reinvent Volkswagen design, to still be Volkswagen, very pure, very simple, because we really believe simple is the new rich, the new luxury is not to be overly complex. We try to create a face of the car which is a typical Volkswagen, a lot of sympathy, very, very warm eyes, very warm character, sort of a car that really sort of you want to own, want to look at and be around with. A car that actually feels great in your environment. Is a completely new way of creating environments. And I think our team have done an outstanding job in such a short time, not only to create a show car, but a vision to what Volkswagen will be, will feel, and will feel like in a few years' time.
Our viewers really are looking forward to this car, and the main question is, of course, what kind of features that this car is showing at the moment, exterior and interior, are really that realistic that we can see it in a serial production car? And what do you think, okay, this is just for show purposes, we will leave it out, maybe bring it later. So can you maybe give a percentage of what's realistic and what's not that realistic with this vehicle?
I think first of all, if you look at the car, the car itself is very realistic. We really try to make a car that actually is astonishingly new, very fresh, still actually remarkable Volkswagen in its character. A lot of quality, visual quality in the senses. So everything you see actually is nothing which is out of space. It's something that we really work hard to bring to reality. The car features sort of a 3D virtual reality HUD. So basically you see the directions you take on the road visually flying in front of you. You can touch them. Actually, it's touchable. This technology is something we really want to bring to life with that car. You can see this in our simulation. It's something which really is out of space, fantastic. But again, It is creatable because we have a new dimension of space in the car, so we can use more space to create this technology kit. The car in itself is going to be very simple to use. We really believe that simplicity is a real item of luxury. So we try to get rid of as many knobs and pins in the car to make it as pure as possible, as most logic intuitive to use that. And the car will obviously be fully connected to other cars, to the environment, to the city. So it's going to be a fully connected car. So these are the virtues which we will bring into the car. Something which we are pointing here is actually the possibility of the car to become the first autonomous Volkswagen. The car will be ready to do it, so we prepare the car from the physics to really do it. But it will take some time before the legal environment will be ready to really sort of live with the challenge of fully autonomous cars. We are already now with Volkswagen technology at the highest potential level around the globe. We'll take the next 2 steps before we get to this car. But basically, this is pointing really at the first really autonomous Volkswagen. So again, this is not something we'll discuss at launch, but we are really working hard to bring the 3 pillars of future: autonomous drive, full connectivity, and being part of an ecosystem of Volkswagen, and a full range sustainable mobility actually into practice by 2020.
Looking at the competition, some might say, oh, you know, Opel, for example, with the Ampera-E, they're earlier, you come in 2020. So what do you want to do? Maybe with the facelift Golf that offers new higher electric range now, and maybe you come a little bit later that you're at the very price you're aiming at, because batteries might be cheaper in 4 years. Is this the reason?
It's, I think, sort of a walk in time and walk of energy. I think many people forget that Volkswagen today is one of the market leaders of electric mobility. In 2015, we have sold 50,000 electric cars, e-ups, e-golfs, GTEs, our plug-in hybrids around the globe, very successfully. People who really love to drive our cars. So we are actually gaining every day more and more experience in the field of electric mobility. We are currently gaining at high speed full competence on battery electric systems. We believe that's actually is an essential part of our knowledge base for the years to come. And obviously, we are working very hard to get the cost down, not only of the battery but the whole systems. And we want to be a relevant purchase actually by 2020. This is our ambition. This is our aim. This is what the teams are fighting for every day when they get to work. The company is changing fast. We are committed to change, and we want to be a successful and leading player in electric mobility by 2020.
And our last question for today, one of the key elements of this car and the future Volkswagen identity will also be sustainability. So what features this car, what you can also add to the sustainability of the whole production process and the very car, maybe also exterior and maybe also the interior?
We haven't yet defined the interior parts. So what's the sourcing of those parts? We're currently focusing on especially the battery electric system. So how do we create sustainable total systems in this sense? And actually, do we create a system that actually allows to have full range for customers to really feel that they don't have to have dual fueling? They can really say goodbye to petrol and diesel. This is actually what we want to achieve. And we obviously working with governments to really make sure that the total chain of energy is really changed with time. This is going to be basically, I think, our society challenge, not to think only for the mobility itself, but actually to the total energy chain for mobility. But we believe that this car is going to be a statement of sustainability in all of its elements. When we get closer to production, we'll tell you exactly how do we bring this to life in production, how do we bring this to life in the material set that we will use for the car. But we are currently focusing very much on the what's really the hard piece now is get an affordable long-range electric battery range car on the road that looks so sexy, so fascinating as this ID.
Okay, thank you very much, and we will of course catch up with the whole process with this vehicle just for you. So while Volkswagen brand CEO Herbert Diess is showing the interior once more of this Volkswagen ID concept car, what can we conclude for today? Well, first of all, the concept. I mean, the exterior, to me, looks really beautiful. Want to hear your opinion in the comments, of course. And I think they have managed it to design an electric vehicle with all of the advantages in the interior without losing too much of the design focus on the exterior. That works, I think, even though if not all elements will come in the exact way. And you can see it once again here behind me, the interior concept without the B pillar, that you can easily access this so-called open space. That promises more worth living time in the car, so spending more quality time in the car, especially when we head out for the autonomous drive, even when the steering wheel moves a little bit farther away than during the autonomous drive mode, and you have more space on the inside without a middle tunnel and so on. So that looks really promising, that you can get more space on the interior and still have very compact sizes on the exterior. This is, I think, the biggest strength of this car, and that will also have a good driving agility. Also, for example, the turning circle, because with the electric building platform, the MEB, this is the first car on this extra platform, extra designed to be an electric car. You can have bigger turning angles of the wheels in the front. That means a turning circle just of 9.9 meters. That's really not so much, one of the advantages of this car. Also about the range, you will have different version, 400 to 600 kilometers. That will be more than enough. Loading, by the way, with DC to 80% of the loading capacity in 30 minutes. Will take longer if you just use a household plug, of course. But then the biggest but is, and I think maybe the only but, that this car will be launched in 2020. And this is definitely a little bit too late. So let's see if they can have a transition with the so far electric lineup, with the e-Golf, for example, with the now increased range, to even out the waiting period until this very vehicle will be on the market. Be it Volkswagen I.D. or maybe it will have another model name. We're looking forward to it. Of course, again, want to hear your opinion to the thoughts on autonomous drive, exterior, interior with this car, and about the whole vehicle concept. Thank you very much for joining Autogefuehl, and join more from our exclusive Paris Motor Show coverage. Welcome again to the Paris Motor Show here with Autogefuehl and Thomas. And the next insight for today is the new Volkswagen e-Golf update. And this is the e-Golf Touch. It's a concept vehicle, but that comes very close to the soon-to-come whole facelift of the Golf family, and we'll take a look at it. The front is not changed yet, but the e-Golf in general has this blue stripe here to signalize I'm the electric guy, and also the E badge with the blue E. And well, it doesn't need any big coolers in the front, but it still has the same style, because the philosophy of the e-Golf is let's remain rather a normal car look and not a special electric car as we've seen with the Volkswagen I.D, for example. If we move on to the side, we can see 16-inch rims, so they are not that huge. And that is to reduce the rolling resistance. Also, you can see that the wind resistance is being reduced. We more see a closed rim feature. You have to like it from the visual part, but they're very effective. Then normal Golf side profile, it has this new paint on there, and also says, you can read it, the update that the e-Golf is receiving right now means the range goes from 190 to 300 kilometers of range. And for most people, this will definitely be enough for your everyday commuting. Also, the horsepower figure has been raised a little bit, now at about 135 horsepower, was about 115 before. Normal Golf ending here, so this is really, if you think, oh, I'm an existing Golf customer, I know I appreciate normal Golf, but I want to go electric, and then with the 300 kilometers of range, you can really do that now. And maybe let's start by flipping the VW logo to get a look at the trunk here. So you don't lose too much trunk. This is the audio system, which is mounted for when you have the top audio system, then, and everything else, 12-volt power supply. You can flip the seats normally, like this, to have a good transition to the interior, and we'll take a look at that one right now. Let's take a look at the interior. As we know, a good door closing sound, and then everything is more modern in a tech style. For example, here, it's kind of robot atmosphere, let's call it that way. And as we know, a good build quality. We know that this, let's call it maybe checkered structure, is known from the GTI in red. Here in the e-Golf, it is designed in blue. And what I can tell you are that those seats here are very comfortable. I really also like them in the GTI, because on the middle part They're not that sticky, so you can, move around very well. But here at the sides, you have good side support, so you don't go right and left if you're maybe more on an agile ride. Also a lot of blue control stitches, also the inside of the steering wheel. And this is the so-called e-Golf Touch I've told you, and this is something like a concept which also shows here the active info display, or virtual cockpit called at Audi. This digital instruments already in the Golf, and this will come with the Golf facelift in the LA Motor Show, so it will probably look exactly like this. Also with a middle infotainment screen, we got a new one, I think 9.2 inch, but we'll take a look at that soon. First of all, again, a seating impression, and those ones are really my favorite seats for the compact class, because they have the combination to have a cozy cloth material, a very worthy cloth material on the inside, but at the same time you got good side support. So I've recently got the question, which compact car would you buy if there would be no limit in price? And then everyone thinks about Mercedes A-Class and Audi A3, but especially with those seats here, and with the very elegant atmosphere, especially in the E variants or in the, for example, Golf GTE. For me personally, I would have to say I think I would go with an e-Golf or with a GTE, depending on the loading possibilities I have. That's my opinion. Looking forward to yours, of course. Again, standard Golf seating position. Also here, for example, you see not hard plastics used. This is a high trim level Golf. The e-Golf at the moment in Germany, for example, it's 35,000 euros. It's of course not cheap, but they're not really earning so much money with those cars yet. They're a little bit, supported financially also by the manufacturers. They will be able to earn money with that as soon as more electric cars are being sold. And if you want to look into the production of the e-Golf, Holger recently did a feature of that. And let's take a look at this huge infotainment screen, because we'll see that one also soon in the whole facelift. And this is the new infotainment screen. It will also probably look like this in the Golf facelift, so a good preview here today. That's, by the way, it's not how it looks like. Someone has already ripped off that. It doesn't mean it's bad build quality, but sometimes, I'm not sure if there may be spies from other manufacturers, people go on the motor shows and really rip the cars apart. It's a really strange thing, but we, of course, try to be gentle. Here, proximity sensor. And also in the Skoda Kodiaq, for example, we've already seen that those buttons that were really normal buttons before, like here, menu and home, they have been replaced also by those touch fields which work in a capacitive way. And you see you have a bigger screen now, again with the proximity sensor. If you come closer here, there's a demo mode running only right now. Going here on the motorway. Let's see if we can do anything else here. For example, here you can also have a split view, as you have a lot of room here. Or for example, car, here it says 294 kilometers of total range. Of course, it will be reduced when you have the AC, for example, turned on. Here you can also see if you will be able to recuperate. It's always when you brake, then first the energy is recuperated into the battery, which is placed right there. And then if you need more braking power, then also the normal brakes are applied. That's how it usually works. And app, this will also be working with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You will be able to connect, for example, here in the lower part, and there's the USB slot, which is also illuminated. So overall, I think a system which is likable, reacts very fastly, and also if you're an existing Golf customer, there's no big transition for you. So I'm really looking forward how the final facelift will look like. And again, the e-Golf, my favorite, with my favorite blue color, also here contour stitches all the way around, and the classic Golf beverage holders. Now let's get in the rear just to test again the space we have, and it's pretty standard for a compact class. And see, for my size, there's reasonable knee space. 1m86 or 6'1". If you're not Autogefuehl subscriber, also headroom-wise, that's perfectly fine. So, and this is again really a car where you don't want an extra electric car from a look on the exterior, and also not on the interior. If you want rather a normal car, but going for it electric. And I think it's also good to offer both. And we'll see it also with the Volkswagen I.D, the pure electric car that will come later. This one here, the updated range from the e-Golf, will be the transition, because the Volkswagen I.D, yeah, we have to say it comes too late, basically, but the e-Golf then with the topped-up range can really make this transition that you can already buy a car with the range that is basically sufficient. In what role will then the e-Golf in general play? I would say we ask an expert for that. And from Jakob Kehler, spokesperson for the Golf range inside from the Volkswagen Corporation, we want to know which significance has the e-Golf inside the Golf range?
Well, the e-Golf is for us our first electric car, for sure, in the series production in the Golf range. And until now, it's been really important in markets like Norway or Netherlands, where electric mobility is very big. And with the new car that we present here, or it's more outlook for the new car, we show that we can do until up to 300 kilometers in range with this car. And so for us, this is the next step. And after this, we will come with cars like the I.D that we show today in Paris. And those cars will have 400 to 600 kilometers in range. So the e-Golf is a really important car for us now and for the years to come.
So what can you maybe do to convince more customers, maybe if I'm a normal Golf customer, to convince me that I maybe should switch to an e-Golf?
Well, it depends on, first it's a market question. There's markets where the surroundings, infrastructure and stuff like that are pushing it for electric mobility, which is a thing that we as a producer cannot do. This has to come from the States. And but what we can do is build good cars and extend the range. And in this segment with up to 300 kilometers, we are really good in the competition. And so we think and hope that the customers will acknowledge this and decide when they want to go for electric car in the compact class, that they will decide for the Golf, which is not only electric car, but also a really good car that every year almost a million people who buy a new car trust in, with a combustion engine or electric car. So I think it's a good choice for people who want a really good, reliable electric car.
So do you think that the new stepped-up range and a little bit more power that you get, that this will bring more people to the e-Golf then, that you have a higher percentage of the electric share in the model range?
Yeah, for sure. Range is maybe the most important thing right now for electric car. And there's also more stuff to come, which I cannot talk about today because we will present the car in the end of year. But there will be other features in the Golf as total, I think, which customers, especially customers for e-car, will really like. So yeah, we are really sure we can attract even more customers with this car.
Thank you. One of the stars of the Paris Motor Show is the new Opel Ampera-E. It has nothing to do with a so far Ampera model. This is a totally all-new car and it is built as an electric car. It is not a car that is basically, for example, an Astra or a Corsa, and it was put in with electric technology. This is an all-new platform, just for example as Volkswagen showed with the I.D concept. But the difference here is that this car will be available for purchase already next year, and I say already early next year. The price is not out yet, but Opel stands for achievable cars, and so I think it should be something around 30,000 euros, a little bit more maybe, that it gets maybe at the same price like an e-Golf, for example. We'll tell you everything about this car you need to know: exterior, interior, and also about the engine. More deals in an interview with a technician as well. 500 kilometers of range, pure electric. That's what they promise. Let's go. The front is dominated by the designer that splits here in a symmetric way, and with this new Opel wings that come from the Opel Blitz, the lightning here and leads over to the headlights. And we've seen also, for example, in the new Mokka X facelift. Very interesting. And overall, well, it has kind of a van character, a little bit. That will account for the most electric cars, at least if you want to have good dimensions on the outside and well using of space on the inside. It has the typical Opel design language we see at the moment, and overall it cannot be so much differentiated as an electric car, just because in the lower part we don't have any open vents. This one is closed because we don't need any cooling for the front engine here. In the side profile, the length of the car is just a little bit shorter than a compact class Astra, but on the inside will pretty much be surprised. I can already promise you that. Here, the taillights lead over through this connecting design layer over to the rear of the car. Design dropping line at the height of the door handles. And then what's also interesting, that we got an imitating flying roof. And here it reminds me a little bit of the BMW i3. Of course, the roof is not flying, but it seems like due to this visual trick. And the taillights already begin right here. We don't have any special wind-resistant rims or something like that. They're pretty much standard. Here also in a two-color scheme, 17-inch, so already bigger ones. Of course, you can also go for smaller ones. I'll make a freeway for one look for you in the total side profile. How do you like the Ampera-E from the design? To the rear, those taillights, they have a lot of structure on the inside and a lot of design elements we see here. I think they weren't quite sure what to do. We have here a gap again, then different forms here. But one thing is for sure, it attracts attention, especially with a huge glass layer here. And already two cameras here for the extensive camera system. And we can already open the rear hatch. What is interesting, the taillights flip out. Then we have nothing left right here. And that's the trunk. And 4.17 meters is the length. And you have to think about, usually you don't have too much space here. And also not too limited here in the rear, because normal cars that have been made electric, they are limited here in the height. Here you can put this one a little bit higher then to have an even loading surface if you like it or if you don't like it. But here, as the batteries are really placed in the very low bottom of the car, you don't have any limitations there. If you have put this one here right there, you can also have an even loading surface right there. Also soft material covered here. And what I see from the front seat, that is very interesting. And I guess there are some levers right here. And that, you can put the front seat. That would have been better if we could move it totally the way in the front. But that's the maximum setup here. 2/3, 1/3 split from the rear seats. And let's go on to the front of the interior. Charging the car in the front left, right here, and you have different possibilities. For example, here also for those fast charging cables, and then you can also get this car reloaded quite fast again. But for 23 hours a day, usually a car stands still, just from the figures. And so usually there should be plenty of time to load the car even at the normal household plug. And let's take a look at the interior. Easy and simple materials on the inside. We have to remember they want to keep the price down of this vehicle. However, nice wide accentuations with a structured surface right here as a contrast. Same here at the beginning of the interior. Then the first look at this, there will also be different seat surfaces, materials available. So I'll take a test seat. The two levers here you can already see. Here you sit a little bit higher, so not really low, but also not SUV style, a little bit something in between. Then you can also manually change the back part of the seat, pump the seat up or down again. For me, 1.86 meters or 6'1". Put it in the lowest position. Headroom, there's plenty of left, so that's no problem. Steering wheel can be very well adjusted. Also towards you. That's nice. And also there will be a heated steering wheel available. Those buttons are very interesting. It looks like they can be washed off because they are hidden. You can feel them, but they are, you know, behind this rubber part. It's almost like when you have a waterproof remote control. Very interesting. The only thing about the seats is, in this setup here, they feel a little bit slim. So if you're very wide, that might be a problem for you. But we'll have to find out later also when we, for example, can drive the car, if there are also other seat setups available. The seats as they are right now are not that wide. That is one thing I do realize immediately. When you look to the front, there's this panoramic windscreen, very long dashboard, and that you see it here, that might create some reflections, especially with the light we have here, but that might not be that bad on the outside. And this creates also this van-style atmosphere, also with the additional small windows right there in the front. And this cockpit perspective, because the huge screen will be the center of this whole car, and it will mainly work via touch. So, for example, here you can type in some numbers. This is the way here you can control the sound volume. Seat heating will also be available, or a climate unit when the vehicle is turned on. We cannot do it right now. The basic climate functions are still available here with the normal, cold and warm, and also the vents, also where the vents will be coming from. Everything else we're basically done right here. For example, there is this app view, and OnStar will be the concierge services, but also the SOS call at the same time. Phone you can either connect via Bluetooth, but it will also be available to connect your smartphone. They will have thought about the connectivity. Let's go back there again. Maybe show what we can do in the settings. Maybe not everything is available right yet. It's really a huge screen, and it's also a matte display. Gallery. You can also put some pictures in there. So reaction times are also all right. So projection, not so much is possible yet here. Audio, you can of course stream your music. Oh no, it's out again, but no problem. What is interesting that in the interior we have this frame, the white frame around here, and then there's nothing, because we don't need a middle tunnel in the car. We can have some space, for example, for women, for handbags, for example. It will be very, very important. 12-volt power supply in the lower part, 2 beverage holders, then the central stick to control the gears, like this, electric handbrake, 2 USB ports, then maybe a space for your key, and then you can put up the armrest right here for some more space. And then the instruments, fully digital, also here for the driver. You see the maximum range of 5 kilometers, and they really promise us, we have tested that it should be a realistic figure. There we will see the speed, and you can also see some other information right there, and you can also change the information what you want to have right here. For example, also audio information. Let's go left here. You can also put the phone information right there, all controllable via the steering wheel. Now it's really interesting. Remember, 4.17 meters. That's shorter than a compact car, than an Astra, for example. But look at that, what a great package, and that's the real advantage of an electric car that was also developed as an electric vehicle. So much space in front of my knees, and this we usually have with cars that are maybe like 40 centimeters longer, like this longer. So this is the real advantage of this car. Headroom-wise, I still do fit in here, that's no problem. And you can easily move around the rear, because we also have left out the middle tunnel then here, as it's a full electric car. See the space here, that makes a roomy atmosphere, and 2 USB charging ports here for children, for example. Flipping the seats, I've shown you that already. Here again, for example, this one single seat to flip, also easily done right here, and here's some beverage holders. And now Ralf Hannapel joins us. He is the director for electrification at Opel. And of course, this is your baby. So tell us first, what were the main goals when developing this car?
Yeah, first of all, the main goal was to develop a car that is for everyday use. So what we wanted to create is go away from this ecological picture, go away from the boring designs, go to a fun-to-drive car, everyday use, familientauglich, as we say in German.
And family suitable.
Family suitable, and which means that, of course, the range is one of the big things, and this is, I think, what we achieved. And this was a great challenge to achieve a range that is unique and is more than every other competitor in this segment.
Of course, I already heard some of you saying, "Oh, when I turn on the AC, is it maybe then down to 300 kilometers range or so?" But you have tested it, the range, the total range.
Yes, actually, just to talk little about the AC, this is in general the case. If you have a very energy efficient car like this is, of course there are certain consumers, electric consumers, that are big, and AC is the biggest one. So that is in every car. You just don't notice it on a gas and diesel engine because then it simply consumes 2 liters more per 100 kilometers. And here it's very similar, so it's the biggest consumer actually.
So can you really quantify that? So if you turn on the AC, how much range does it cost? Can you approximately say that? In general, not maybe for this car, but in general, do you know that?
No, in general I don't have that number. It depends very heavily on the outside temperature. So for example, if it's very, very hot, right, then of course the energy needs more. If you are around the temperature of the exterior, it's less. And so there is not a general number. And by the way, this is a general issue with this kind of stuff. That's why we, for example, say greater than 500 kilometers. We don't have this type approved yet, but we will come up, of course, definitely after type approval with a number. And this is also why all the cycles exist.
What was
compare cars? Excuse me. Yes.
What was fundamentally different when developing a pure electric car? Because this has not been developed on a Astra or platform or something. It wasn't totally new platform. So what was different for you and for your fellow workers, and what were maybe the advantages resulting from this?
Yes, the differences was that we created more or less around the battery. So one target was to have this long-range car, which gives you immediately, you need to optimize the energy, the battery has to be big, and what we did is we integrated the batteries, we started the car development from the battery. So the car is more or less wrapped around the whole battery. The battery is fully integrated, which leads to all kinds of advantages. You can reduce the mass, you can optimize the stiffness of the car to make it nicer to drive. And there are many other advantages that might be too technical.
So at a later stage we will of course also drive this car, but can we expect a really sporty handling because of a low center of gravity and maybe also even weight balance?
Absolutely. So for example, the battery is so integrated that it is very stiff, the low center of gravity, the steering was specifically adjusted for an Opel. It drives very agile, I have to say.
From a customer perspective, are you more aiming at totally new customers or more at existing Opel customers?
Actually, we are targeting both. So when you do market research, you see that people actually replace their gas and diesel engines by electric cars. So it's in general speaking, not what we target, just for a moment, in general speaking, actually the people already have a car. So it's not new customers. And then they turn from gas, diesel to the alternative fuels. We, of course, because we think that this package will be very attractive in terms of range, price and everything, that will attract all kinds of different customers that completely will rethink their view on transportation.
If I'm an existing Opel or Vauxhall customer, how can I conceive it? For example, I drive an Astra, and is it the same interior? Do I have more space on the interior than an Astra, or how is it on the outside? So to which model can you compare the dimensions on the outside and the inside, that people can have a good picture of that?
Yes, actually the size of the car, and I just connect the battery, because we actually, as I told you before, we constructed the car around the battery. The size of the car is 4.17 meters. It's between a Corsa and an Astra. Corsa is roughly 4 meters, and the Astra is 4.37, so it's in the middle. But in the interior, because we did this specific design around the battery, it's like a compact car, it's like an Astra. The trunk, for example, is 381 liters in trunk space, while the Astra is for the same measure 370. So it's actually 11 liters more. And very similar also, we put some special technology in there to allow more legroom in the rear. So for example, the thin seat technology.
And of course the most important question, when will it be on the market, and maybe also for which customers, because I think it will also be a Vauxhall Ampera-E at the same time, and also a Chevy Bolt. So maybe you can give us a perspective, where can I buy it, under which brand, and maybe At what price? I have to ask you.
Yeah, actually it will be on the market in spring 2015. We have not planned to sell it as a Vauxhall because of the right-hand version that would have been required, and we target at the high volume markets, which are left-hand drive. And on the price, I have to say, I'm sorry, at this moment we're just 6 to 7 months before spring when the car will be ready. It's just too early. We cannot say anything about the price at the moment.
We're really anxious to hear that, and then later, after we have revealed that, also we'll drive the car, of course, and the American customers will also see it as a Chevy Bolt. At least. Sorry for all the UK customers so far. I think you'll have to come to Germany then to drive this car.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We cannot look under the hood today. They have closed it and don't want to reveal it yet, but we know there are about 204 horsepower, if you calculate that, and that means from 0 to 50 kilometers an hour, for example, you will have every race car owned pretty much. And of course later on they will catch up. But this car will also be very fast in the acceleration, these in the lower kilometer range. Yeah, and the range they've tested it, as I said, it is really a realistic range, so that is really a game changer. And if the price that will be revealed later is also attractive, and we just estimate that, then this could really be a game changer as an Opel Ampera-E or also as a Chevy Bolt. Both are built in the US, and this one comes over as the Opel then. The package, especially in the rear, is very good. In the front, I would like some more stepping up build quality. Let's see if that will change from pre-series production. And the seats are a little bit slim. Those are the negative points I've found. But then again, the range beats it all, and also the package we have in the rear and in the trunk, considering this is still a very short car. So definitely, probably the game changer in the electric mobility for the masses. Or what's your opinion? Give me that one here on Autogefühl, the #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and the #1 community to discuss cars with Thomas. Thanks here from Paris. Another exclusive look preview in exterior and interior, and a lot of information inside on the all-new Skoda Kodiaq, the first SUV from Skoda. Because today we'll also be joined by Bernhard Meyer, the Skoda CEO, and by Josef Kaban, the Skoda head of design. So probably one of the most important and most interesting people to talk about this very vehicle. And you've maybe also seen our world premiere coverage, where we also had some other interviews and a lot of details. Check out that video as well if you're interested. And here, let's now start with an exclusive insight with some information you for sure didn't get so far. Just talking about something in the interior, so look forward to that. Let's go. Now we talk to the best man to talk about the design of the Skoda Kodiaq. Josef Kaban is the head of design at Skoda. And we want to know, what are your favorite features, beginning here with the front?
Thank you very much for nice words. I have to say, first, of course, by any kind of car, especially by the Kodiaq, you can see is the proportions, which you can already see from the front, the way how the car is standing on the wheels and the width in the front. It already makes clear that we are looking very robust and very dynamic car. The way how the car is standing, the bonnet pretty high, and always doubled lines gives the car a very strong, sophisticated character. But of course, because it's Skoda, you can immediately recognize the main key elements, like the grille, which is very imposant in the middle of the car, the dome, which nicely hold the emblem, and all the lines are starting simply from that area. These double lines in the grille, these vertical lines, is very typical element for all the Skodas. But by doubling the lines, you get something what the SUVs will have.
of course, the eyes. Always we are trying to make something what is maybe a little bit more reminding human eyes, maybe woman eye, something what it make you to look at it, something what really attract with these special lines inside. And so I think this car has many characteristics from the Skoda, but as well has some uniqueness in way of being special. For example, like the lights are divided in two special lights. This bottom one is giving the car even more, let's say, a special look.
Let's move on to the side profile.
Okay.
So we got a quite long compact SUV. It's probably one of the longest compact SUVs with about 4 meters and 70. But there was the task for you to make it not appear not bulky or not too long at all. How did you manage that?
I mean, this is something what the Skoda is always trying to do. From outside, compact, friendly and elegant, and from inside, surprisingly big. We are standing for the space, therefore for us was very important to have the size. But of course, from the outside, we try to describe the volumes, the whole surfaces and the whole structure of the body, so that the car feels, let's say, robust, but it has this appeal to shine, to looks a little bit more compact. The way how the car is standing on the wheels, on the squarish wheel arches, giving nicely the muscle touch, which is a bit similar, like you already know from the Superb. It's very strong, but it's over covered with one very elegant line, which gives the car nice length. But on the other side, the way how the structure is, I think the car appeal, as we already said, very compact. What is nice about that, we have here 3 rows of the seats, but especially the back area was challenging to give the car enough coupe character without losing the space inside. This was one of the most difficult parts, but I have to say we have excellent, not only design team, but as well very strong engineering support. And I have to say it was tough, but was simply enjoying.
Such very strong dropping lines. Could you do that in the past, or is that something that you can only do for the more recent years, because this has to be stands out as well?
Oh, I mean, when I already was saying big compliment to the engineers, I have to say as well that the production in Skoda is excellent. I mean, have a look at the precision of the lines, have a look at the sharpness of the lines. This is something what shows much more than only design. When you look any kind of product like this, you could see, I always say something like mirror of the brand. It shows all of the people which was taking part on it, and I have to say the production is really making all this possible, because they have the passion to make things even sharper, even better. Of course, they somewhere the limit, but I think this is challenging to get even above that.
And now to the rear. And the rear end of the is really my favorite part of the car, because of this crystal work of the rear lights. And it's of course something typically Czech. So you can maybe tell us more about that. What's behind this glass work?
You know, when we are talking about car, of course, car is very important. We are excited about it. But even more is maybe important to see what the car does with emotions by the customers, and if there is even more possibility to make it out of it. For example, we believe that making car is as well a little bit showing not only the let's say the passion of the people which was working on it, but as well a little bit of culture. And when we was talking about the culture, of course, glass plays in Czech a very important role, and we thought what a excellent possibility to maybe put this together. It doesn't sound on the beginning very dynamic, but when you look now through the glass, when you look even the sharpness, what we spoke about, the lines, but then of course when you come to the lights, it gives the car simply something more than only steel on the rubbers. It just it's giving the car somehow a special touch, and I'm glad that this brand like Skoda can give with the car, let's say, even this kind of other emotions. This precision, when you talk about the glass, it's something talking about something clear, is honest, is to the point, and it's something what we believe the brand Skoda is honest, is rational, but as well emotional. As in the life, the rationality any kind of emotions without rationality is not so good, as well rationality without emotion. We are trying to put this together. We believe that the car is not the most important thing for the family or for the people, but it can help to make the life more attractive. And I hope this Kodiaq will do that. I think we did it with passion, and I hope people will see it.
Thanks for this exterior insight. So if we're moving towards the interior, we have already seen on the world premiere. What's this?
It's some little magic. I mean, it's something nice, but of course, it's very, very simple. But in the end, it solved lots of problems. By opening the car, you get nice door protection, and I have to say, this door protector is something what I think many people will appreciate. Especially in cities, you will find these small features. Like one of them is this one. Lots of these simply clever solutions which make the car even more enjoyable. I think this is something what make the people fun to use it.
And obviously, it also works a couple of times. It's not like it's like broken. We can test it. Looks
you can try it even very quick. It works perfectly.
Looks pretty safe. So also with the Skoda Superb, we've always seen really amazing on the exterior, but on the interior here again the same scheme. You're not that daring on the interior as you were on the exterior. So this is rather a little bit clean, settled, conservative. Was that also something that you intended, or didn't you have so much room to play with the interior as you had with the exterior?
I mean, first thing what I can say to the interior is really roomy. It's like space what you can enjoy it. What we are always trying to do by Skoda is to give you lots of space with lots of variability and as well good atmosphere in the car. And I think when you sit here and when you look the car, when you feel the space and you feel all this around, you know, everything what you have, you find immediately intuitive in the right place. I can only say I believe this is exactly what we believe is the right step to do for our customers. The way how the car, let's say how the instruments are in place, it's showing that we have very, let's say, attractive modern looking car with very good materials.
You have a little bit of a retro atmosphere in the gauges.
I mean, of course, this area about in the front of the driver is one of the versions what you could see it in the cars. We will even have soon coming even the full digital displays, and so therefore all this is coming. It is not always just whatever we do is not only depending what we could do, but what we believe is the right thing in the right time for our customer. And we think that this option, what you see now, will definitely have lots of let's say positive feedbacks by many of our drivers, but some of them which will allow more technological will go for the full digital.
That was a really interesting piece of info because people were already asking, you know, for the future, will we also be able to get that for the Kodiaq? Great info. Then already here with the infotainment system in the middle, here with a nice proximity sensor as well. So what were buttons here? Fixed buttons so far are now more those capacitive buttons, and that also gave you more room for the design to integrate it.
I mean, you can imagine that this is one of the possibilities. You can see the space and the way how it's integrated now. I think it feels very, very rich. It feels very elegant. But this kind of fixed buttons makes you, let's say, even more easy to move in this moment. You know, you always find your button in the right place. Of course, it doesn't mean that in future cannot come in even in different alternatives. But already what this car can do is something special, and I think for many customers, this all variations, the connectivity, this always on, or as you saw already the map, it gives you lots of freedom and lots of possibilities to enjoy the drive.
SmartLink now also available with the connectivity, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and so. Are you Apple or Android user?
I'm the Apple.
Yeah, I thought so. As a designer, you have to be, of course. Okay. Yeah, but everything else, as you used from your maybe older Skoda models, so you still have everything, as you said, on the right spot, but maybe just a little bit updated.
Yeah, but what we're trying to do is, of course, we decided for certain speed. The speed is not just somehow made. What we're trying to do is we believe to get the speed to move the brand in speed, which will be followed and will be let's say appreciated from the people what we grow with, with our customers. We are not trying to let's say to escape to other let's say customers. We're trying to take our ones, but of course we're trying to get even the new ones, and we believe this is one of the possibilities. Today world is pretty is not always just relaxed. It's sometimes even hectical, and it is sometimes good when you kind of find place where you feel from the first moment fine. You find everything in the right place. You can put your bottles, you can put your stuff in the car. You have a huge luggage compartment. You have lots of possibilities. Simply things what people are appreciating. Even small things like
Softened dashboard, for example, not
yeah,
hard plastic.
But this is nothing too special. I mean, we have by Skoda already the time where the all Skodas are already in good quality. This is not anymore the issue of being very special. I think when you enter any kind of car by Skoda, Octavia is excellent example. The way how the cars are made is already the high standard. And I hope I'm not the only one who believe that.
Yes, we also have found it with a very good interior build quality, and also the reports we got from the viewers so far proved that. And great design is not only about the visual part, but also about functionality, and that becomes obviously here in the rear part of the car, because we have several differentiations where we can move the seat.
I can, for example, show. Look, when you have, you can move beautifully any kind of position, and this is something what I will say is very typical thing for Skoda. To find these opportunities. To not only like have nice more space, but even the way how you can use the seats. How you can adjust it. This is all. It can give you lots of opportunity, lots of space to play with. Therefore, the driving with this car should be trying to do everything that is really pleasure. Not only in the front, but as well in the back.
Here then to slide it at the same time. Here,
yes,
there is.
Yes.
Then we could get in the rear. Well, it's not really meant for big adults.
I mean, of course, we are not expecting that 7 basketball players are going in one car, but you definitely can go with whole family.
And I'm not sure. There are no ISOFIX fixations on the rear seat. Some viewers told us that could maybe a thing you can still be working on, couldn't it? So that you can, because for the rear seats, a lot of people want to use it for their children, and I think that could maybe be something.
At this moment, we have few opportunities. Might be that you decide in the end somewhere else, but in this moment there is this ISOFIX possibilities in the middle line and in the front. I think, of course, we can think about everything, but in this moment we believe the car is pretty good ready for any kind of test.
So we had to search really long for a small flaw, and finally we found something maybe to address with the facelift.
Okay, we take this with us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
How you say thank you in Czech?
Ďakujem.
Ďakujem.
Ďakujem. All the best. Thank you very much.
And now Josef Kaban has left us, take some more photos for other journalist colleagues, and I want to show you the trunk one more time here. You can hide the cover right here at the lower part, and here you can also fold down the 6th and 7th seat. This way, you see, you have to move the rear bench a little bit forward, that they totally disappear again, like this and like this. Thomas workout here, and there you could see it. And it's really very flexible. So I'm also thinking about, I always want to transport my bicycle, for example. And yeah, Michelle has a better idea. Yeah, let me put that back again. So the cameraman has the better view, also to the secret buttons here. There it is. So let's look like this. And this is really huge now, and very long loading space. And I heard that they are not in this setup where we have the electric seats, but there should also be a manual seat available where you can then flip down this co-driver seat and then also have one of the longest loading areas in the compact SUV segment. So a lot of time you can spend with and in this car for sure. And now we're joined by Skoda CEO Bernhard Meyer, and of course we want to know what is your experience with your new SUV so far, because from what we have heard there has been enormous feedback to this SUV, and what you're planning with this car for the whole brand.
You're absolutely right. We presented the concept car, the Skoda Vision S, in Geneva this very year, and the reaction was already very positive. And now we can show how a concept car can become reality. And also what we've heard from journalists and focus groups we have talked to is very promising. So we have already orders on hand, although we have not opened the price system so far. This will be due on October 4th. And we are expecting a full order bank already when we start to bring the car on the markets. And this will start in February next year, beginning with Western Europe and Eastern Europe, and then the rest of the markets will come step by step. So this new Kodiaq will be a game changer for our entire brand. It's not only the latest status of our new expressive emotive design language, but it's also coming into this by far most our fastest growing segment, the A SUV segment. And this is only the spearhead of this SUV campaign, so there's more to come. So yeah, this is a milestone for the future of the company.
We've seen also with the latest models from Skoda that the interior build quality is also really at a very high level, and it's also, you know, a known subject among especially car journalists that they say, is Skoda maybe becoming too good inside the Volkswagen Group? I know you heard that question quite a lot of times, but also customers wonder, shall I maybe go for another brand or shall I just stick with Skoda? What do you say?
Well, I think this discussion from external view is a little bit overestimated. A group with multiple brands can only be as successful as each part of the brand of the group is successful. And with that respect, let me raise another question: can a brand be too good? From my point of view, this cannot be really the case. Yes, we are in a good run. The first half of the year was really successful, the third quarter as well. So we are heading to the probably best financial year in the 121 years old history of the company. This is especially with respect to the matter of fact that we are celebrating our 25th anniversary this year, being together with Volkswagen and Skoda, a very good outlook.
What can you maybe say about the future of this very model? Because, you know, even before buying the first cars, people are already wondering, will there be more engines? Will there be some special editions and so on? So do you see any perspective to develop this model maybe into further smaller steps?
We are already starting with a big variety of engine alternatives, and by the way, this car is also the first car in its segment which is available as a 5-seater and as a 7-seater. And we have developed a derivative which will be available in the Chinese market in around 2.5 years from now on. And also this model is a very attractive one, so a huge number of journalists and also fans of the brand have told us, please bring that derivative also to the European market. And we are heavily investigating how this could be possibly managed.
Do you see the main customers more from inside the brand, or do you really want to have a competition for very new customers, especially with this SUV?
As with all our cars we are bringing into into reality. We want to gain, of course, more customers from outside the brand and, more important, outside the group. And this really works perfectly. The good thing at the Skoda is that we have one of the highest brand loyalty rates in the entire automotive industry. In some markets it's more than 60%. So we are gaining year on year more customers, and the cars in use is growing tremendously. Yeah, this car has not the job to attract existing customers only, but also and more customers who are not with our brand so far.
And as a last question, looking into the future, there has been some times where Skoda got some new technologies maybe later inside the corporation. And for example, talking about the GPS systems or maybe about some engine derivatives. What about now as we're heading to connectivity and also sustainability and electrification future? What's at stake for you there?
Well, with the Kodiaq we are really open a new chapter for the brand, because the Kodiaq is the first car which will be always online. So you have all the assistance systems which are currently available on board. At least they are available, and the customer can make it as individual as he wants to do. So it's also possible to have a very customized car with Skoda Kodiaq as the very first time. And well, this is the future of our brand. Connectivity will be state of the art. And so we will come up with solid solutions.
And hybrid?
Yes, of course, we are in parallel developing the electrification of our entire model lineup. The first plug-in hybrid-driven vehicle will be available in China by the end of 2018, in the rest of the world in 2019, and the first purely electric-driven vehicle, battery electric-driven vehicle, will then come quite shortly afterwards.
Okay, we take your word for it. Thank you very much. Porsche Panamera 4E Hybrid, that's the name of the new hybrid variant in this all-new generation of the Porsche Panamera. And we'll take a look at it here on exterior and interior and have some exclusive interviews for you here on Autogefuehl, because we are meeting up with the Porsche CEO and also with the head of the development of this model line here. So we will have all of the insight also on the technical part, and also maybe what the future will hold for electrification with Porsche. Let's start here in Autogefuehl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars, with some exclusive reports from the Paris Motor Show. Let's go. The front is really pretty much the same than we've seen with the other Panamera variants. We have different videos on the all-new Porsche Panamera. Check them out in the video description. Here with the top LED headlights, you see this 4-dot design. There you can always see them very well. And this new kind of power dome. And I think here, especially in white, I think the power dome is really good, because in some other colors this shadow difference is a little bit stronger. Here I think in white it's not that significant, so also black contrast then here to the white color, really refreshing. And moving on from white to acid green, because acid green is also a thing with the e-hybrid, and it's covered here behind this badge at the side, and also the brake calipers here in this acid green color add to this very harsh contrast for the 21-inch rims, and they have my favorite Porsche Spyder design, because it is such a 90s thing, this Spyder design, and well, you know, I'm a 90s guy a little bit, so This is really my thing as for the rim design. Or what's yours? Looking forward to that. Then this side silhouette, which has been altered with the all-new generation of the Panamera, that the roof falls down a little bit more elegant, still strong shoulders, but the whole rear doesn't look that bulky anymore, but really like a longer 911. And the rear here again with this acid green contrast, and the number 4 also tells you something that we have also an all-wheel drive mounted in here. I would say let's also take a look at the front. But first conclusion to the rear. More horizontal contrast definitely here. All the taillights with a 3D effect. So also from the rear. I didn't like the Panamera generation before that much, but now I do. And for most viewers, the favorite part of a Porsche, see it here 2.9, the V6, again with the acid green. I sometimes mistake it a little bit for yellow, but that's because, well, I'm weak with colors a little bit about green and yellow, maybe you too. And what about this engine here? I would say let's talk to the guy who is responsible for the development of the whole car. And now we are joined by Gernot Döllner. He is responsible for the Panamera model lineup, and of course we want to know first of all about the technical specifications. Everyone was waiting for the hybrid model. So what's exactly beneath the hood? Is it a 4S plus the electric drive?
It's a Panamera 4E hybrid. It's a 2.9 liter V6 combustion engine with 330 horsepower. In combination with an electric motor with 100 kilowatts, that means 136 horsepower. So this in combination delivers 700 Newton meter of torque, and with this hybrid concept, it's proven that a plug-in hybrid is a performance feature, and it's a typical Porsche.
So you also want to address a typical Panamera customer just with a plug-in hybrid now?
Yeah, definitely. Because we think, and with this car, we took the 918 Spyder idea of hybridization to the luxury segment, and it's really a performance feature. 4.6 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, 278 kilometers per hour top speed, prove that it's a real sports car.
I guess you already drove the car. How can you describe the driving feeling? How is it maybe different from a 4S to, or maybe to a turbo?
Yeah, maybe more to a 4S because it's almost as fast. It's even more emotional because from the tipping of the gas pedal when you step in, you initially have 700 Newton meters of torque, and that adds an extra emotion and an extra torque to the car, and really makes it a performance car.
What can you imagine? How much maybe share in the whole model lineup could a plug-in hybrid have at the end of the day? But because there are also now some subventions, well, not for the very expensive car, at least in Germany. But how can you also convince people that this is maybe the sportier Porsche?
Yeah, we had 10% plug-in hybrid in the previous model as a share. And we are convinced that we'll have even more than these 10% with this plug-in hybrid.
Maybe you can tell us something about the favorite features you have with this car, because you obviously know every detail. So what's your really favorite part of it?
Yeah, the favorite part of it are the different drive modes. From all electric, we have a hybrid mode, and we have a Sport and a Sport Plus mode. We have a Sport Chrono package on board, and an exhaust system that's really very, very emotional. And so my favorite part of it is the complete hybrid package. It's really a perfect combination in this car.
If I was rather use it for cruising, not so much for racing, what can I do with the maximum electric range? Or maybe if I have the combined fuel consumption, so what can I do it on with the economic side?
On the economic side, you have 51 kilometers all-electric range, which is quite impressive, and
You can, in the city, you can drive completely electric up to a speed of 140 kilometers. So it's also perfect for cruising all electric or in a hybrid mode. That's also perfect for long trips.
And as a last question, looking to the future, I heard there will also be a second plug-in hybrid version. Of course, you cannot tell us every detail about it, but maybe you can tell us something. Will it be very much the same, or will it be completely different than this one?
Yeah, it's not the right time to talk about details, but I can tell you we'll have another even more performance-oriented hybrid version of this car.
Okay, maybe this will bring us even more 918 Spyder here in the Porsche Panamera. Thank you very much for this insight.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And now to the interior, and well, the hybrid Porsche definitely leads the way into the future. Also again with the acid green on the carbon fiber entry cap. The only thing that is missing that we have, for example, some Alcantara surfaces, so I'm really looking forward to the Panamera GTS in this case. But the question is if I can also combine it with the Panamera plug-in hybrid, because this would be my thing totally, the Panamera plug-in hybrid with Alcantara seats. Let's maybe later find out at a later stage in the configurator if that's possible. That would be really interesting, or what do you think? Because, for example, we also got an Alcantara ceiling, which creates a very cozy and soft atmosphere. Also together with a design highlight, for example, the mirror, which has no frame. Then a lot of side support. You see it already right here in the lower and the higher parts of the seat. And the big theme about this new interior of the Panamera is that we just got horizontal drawn lights. Again, everything strongly wrapped, that you have strong lines here, but just a few. And this new infotainment screen. We have a feature on the infotainment screen on the other video we have on the Panamera. A lot of functions are hidden inside here, so you don't have many more buttons left here in the middle console. Special here for the plug-in hybrid is that you also got special displays here for the electric range. That will be, see at the moment, 34 kilometers left. Will be a little bit more, as we've just heard. And well, the total consumption, of course, that really depends on how often do you recharge the car, how often do you have the possibility. And there will be the different driving modes, as we've also heard. For example, where you have the e-power mode or Sport Plus that will combine everything, so you have the maximum power output, no matter what economic factors play a role. And here, for example, think about maybe you want to drive fully electric in a city, then you can also e-charge the vehicle then, for example, running on the motorway, recharge the battery, then running just electric inside the city. Hold would be that you would just maintain the battery status at this point, and hybrid auto, just that the car is deciding on its own. So as I take it, e-power would be the mode that uses the most electric energy, Sport more combined then, and Sport Plus really the power. By the way, there's we're talking about Audi clicking sounds when we turn knobs. Here's also interesting clicking sounds when we hit the touchscreen buttons. Just gives you a good feedback here, and just a general overview about the GPS, which is very impressive here from Paris. Bienvenue à Paris, tout le monde, à l'Autogefühl. Here we've also passed the Arc de Triomphe today. So, and this is really great to look at. By the way, the touchscreen itself also feels very well. That is nice. The only thing I'm a little bit have mixed feelings about is that you control where the vents are coming from here. Not sure if you can get used to it, but at least the temperature and stuff you can still do with fixed buttons. I can show you very soon. And there it is. Those are nice clicking fixed buttons here with this knurled, metal knurled structure. Really great quality again. And central driving shift, where I just put it to D. And then, well, I will really fancy driving that one here now. And we will do probably very soon. A Sport Chrono package with Porsche includes also this analog timer And here we also have this acid green schematic. Very nice detail. Also the cockpit has been digitalized. 1, 2, 3, 4 digital parts. And then the middle one, this one is still the analog one, the RPM meter again, with the green arrow. Maybe, you know, like an aggressive snake ready to attack. One minor detail, magic beverage holders. You see, this is a flat surface now, but then magic. And then I can put some bigger bottles in here and here again and just push the button and then everything is flat again. What about the rear? As I would be driving in the front, of course the Panamera is not, you know, the best car as for the sport in the rear, but by the way, soft close here from the doors. The last part was done automatically. It's a long car. That kind of space here or knee room in front of me, and headroom wise, well, there's a panoramic roof mounted here, but still this has been increased a little bit here if you compare to the previous generation. 6'1" or 1.86 m in height. Overall a comfortable position here, definitely, although I don't fancy those more laying back seating positions in general. I more prefer SUV seating position also for the rear seats, but overall a very cozy atmosphere here, and you also got the full digitalization here in the rear. Again with 2 single seats, and they're now very important information because, you know, there's also this kind of shooting brake in planning process, and this sport touring machine from Porsche Panamera, that one will probably also feature a rear bench then with 3 seats. So the Panamera estate, also looking forward to that. Then we have a different setup here. At the moment here still 2 single seats with an armrest. That's something for tech nerds, because isn't it a little bit over the top that I don't do it manually here, those vents? I do it here electronically. Yeah, about that. And then I can also control the air vents from here, play around a little bit with it, and again click here for the climate. So also cooled seats for the rear part, again with good click quality. Click quality is a very interesting word here for Autogefühl, definitely. So if you don't know what to do with your time when you're in the rear, you can always play with the rear screen. By the way, Sport Turismo will be the name of the Panamera estate. Sport Turismo, to remember that. And that will offer even more space than here. But for a sporty sedan, this is also reasonable space. Not in the height, but in every other dimension. 12-volt power supply right here. And what's here? Well, nothing that special. And I guess that the reason for that is, you can see orange cable already means electric parts, because the battery will be stored right there. And here you can also flip the seats, those single seats, and that will look like this. So you can also basically load through longer things. And then we want to take a look into the future, and we close our today's preview of the Porsche Panamera plug-in hybrid with an exclusive interview with the Porsche CEO Oliver Blume. And now Porsche CEO Oliver Blume joins us, and we want to know in general, Porsche and electrification. Is it the new thing? Will this be also the future of Porsche?
Porsche has got a very big history of hybrids, and I think Porsche is the founder of the hybrid engines, represented in 1900 in Paris. And now we have 3 hybrid engines in 3 segments. And now with the new Panamera, we are going to a new world and to a new level with this hybrid engines. And I think it's the right thing for Porsche, because we are combining the best of 2 worlds.
Is this only a thing for the bigger vehicles you have? there's, you know, some internal joke at Porsche because all of the four-door cars are also called commercial vehicles. Yeah, he knows it. Is it just a thing for the Porsche commercial vehicles, or can you also imagine some hybridization in the smaller sports cars?
Of course, you can imagine it. At this moment, we are starting with this hybrid, and what we will do in future, we are thinking about it. And also we are thinking about total electric vehicles in a smaller segment.
About this car, what is the favorite thing for you about the Panamera hybrid?
Oh, it's a combination of the best of combustion engines. You have all the driving dynamics, and on the other hand, you can drive 50 kilometers pure electric, and on the other hand, you can reach up to 280 kilometers per hour. And this combination, I think it's fantastic.
And maybe you talking as a salesman, there has been a problem to sell electric cars in general and also to make money from it because the batteries are still very expensive in general. Is it still a future prospect that you can also earn very good money with electric vehicles?
Yeah, I think that's not a problem of the hybrid engines, but for the pure electric engines, it's very important at the end that you can drive a long distance with the cars. You have a small charging time and you have a very good infrastructure for charging. These three components are very important, and therefore we are working in the three components. When we will start with a real electric car with Porsche, I think we have all of this.
Yeah, because Autogefuehl viewers have also asked us, oh, when is Porsche responding to Tesla? Yeah. That's of course a question. I mean, you won't reveal all the product portfolio and you have planned for the next 10 years, but what's your response on Tesla at the moment? What are you thinking about?
We don't think about Tesla. What they are doing is interesting for us, but we are playing in our own segment. And our idea was to come with a pure electric car when all these factors of charging time, of distance you can drive, and the infrastructure will be ready for the customer, and that will be at the end of the decade.
And as a last question, let's imagine I'm a typical petrol head and I say the only thing I love is a V8. How can you bring me to this vehicle?
You have to drive it.
That's always the good thing you can say when you're a Porsche CEO, definitely. Thank you very much for this insight.
Thank you very much.
Background information on current interiors on the cockpit of the cars you know, of the cars we present you, and how will the future cockpit look like? We're going to solve this question here in our special feature from the Paris Motor Show. And we're a guest at the moment at Faurecia, one of the big suppliers on the market. And we want to start with the state of the art, because this one here is the Alfa Romeo Giulia cockpit. You've seen that in our full driving review probably. And there are a lot of elements here where it doesn't seem obvious, but there's a story almost behind each element. And with Fabrice Aissauvery from Faurecia will explain us what's the story, for example, beneath this dashboard, because it's also about lightweight.
A different story. I think there are different, very interesting innovation, even if it doesn't appear at the first sight. First thing is about lightweight. Indeed, what we use is a new material that has been developed by Faurecia to do the carrier of the IP. This material is called NAFI, for natural fiber for injection. And these materials enable us to have lighter carrier. So, for example, on this IP, we want 1.2 kilo, thanks just to this material. It's a mix of polypropylene and hemp that has been developed by Faurecia in JV with agriculture people. That's the first thing. You will see it afterwards because this is not visible part. The second thing that is very interesting here is about the wood decoration. Faurecia is not only making some parts and some complete door panel in leather or PVC or plastic, we are also making decoration. Here you can see some wood. It's called Ligneos. It has been developed by Faurecia. Faurecia is making all the possible decoration. We talk about wood, aluminium, carbon, synthetic, in-mold decoration. We are able to offer all of them. And more than that, we can offer most of them in the same tools. For example, aluminium, carbon, and wood, we can do it in a single tool.
This is here open cell wood in this case, so very natural feeling. And do you also pay attention to where you get the wood from, the raw materials?
Yeah, we have a partnership with a company called Taboo. We have a JV, and they are ensuring how to get the wood in a proper way. So, and then, as you say, this is an open pore, but we can make open pore, closed pore. I would say all the technologies are available for us.
And then about the display, it seems really seamless here with the new Giulia, the display. So there's no visibility that it is actually a display. So it looks like a decorative element here now, but you can change it obviously.
I will. So indeed, that's what we call deco display, and this is really a big innovation. That's the first in the world, okay? So you see that. The question is how to integrate all the display, all the HMI in a smooth manner in the interior. And this is, I would say, a first step to the cockpit of the future, how to interface in a smooth way. You will see it on the other demonstrator. This one, as you see, I will switch it on. You start from a black panel, and then suddenly you light it on, and then you have the display, okay? So it's completely a decoration part that turns on into a display, okay? This is a TFT behind a B injection part that is made internally, and both are bonded, okay, to have a perfect image on the surface. This is the first step. This is what we develop. It's now in the street. This is not yet a touch screen, but we have also the solution for the touch screen. This one is not touch screen. This was a choice at the moment where we developed the car. But now we have touchscreen where we can also integrate some switch around. So you see, I can make it also again. So you will see that suddenly up it disappears and you have a perfect integration. That's what we call the first in smooth, perfect integration of HMI and decoration together.
So that's a status quo example with the Alfa Romeo Giulia. Let's take a look at the future. And now Innovation Manager Dale Fry will tell us more about the Active Wellness 2.0 concept. We have experienced this one here in an earlier stage. So what has basically changed now?
Okay, the biggest difference in the original Active Wellness, we had a single set of sensors that gave us heart rate, respiration rate. What we've done is, as you can see here, we have 12 data streams that we're working from now that is compiled through a variety of different sensors that include infrared optical sensing, it includes EKG, it includes piezo, a variety. We have load cells, we have capacitive sensing, a variety of sensors that come together and give us these 12 data streams. And out of these 12 data streams, we can know much, much more about the occupant. And more importantly, we get to understand what the occupant's state is, their current state. Are they drowsy? Are they stressed? Are they alert? Are they comfortable? Are they getting motion sick?
I would say, let's just test it. How is my state of the body? Let's see it right here. So the camera will focus on the demo screen now, and I'll take a seat right here, and let's see. Oh, expression is changing already. No, this is. I love this expression monitor. Let's see. Oh, smile. Oh. It's really funny how it reacts on my face. And let's see if I'm maybe stressed or if what the car has to do with me, because the funny thing is that the car of the future will react to your mood, and our expert will now explain us all of the different data streams that we see here.
Okay, so on the screen we see we're tracking these 12 different data streams, and starting over on the right, you can see we have eye gaze. So we're looking at where you're looking on the screen. We are looking at your head tilt, fore and aft, your posture. Are you leaning side to side? We have a term we call fidgets. Makes sense in the US, not everywhere else, but it means, are you kind of moving around in the seat like you're uncomfortable?
Yeah, like this now. You see when I'm going like this?
We're tracking, are you yawning? How often are you yawning? Or do you have your hands on the steering wheel? We're looking at humidity within the seat, your heart rate, your breath rate, how many times you're blinking. Of course, you already saw expression, and even how much your eyes are closed at any given time. And so we're tracking those things, and those data streams come together in pieces. We use some of them at different times in different combinations to tell us the likelihood, are you possibly getting stressed? Are you possibly getting motion sick? And then we utilize that data to start to learn your particular characteristics more. We create a profile for you, and out of that profile, we get to know you. And over time, that profile will turn from learn and react, which is what it's doing right now. It's very early end of your profile. It's learning you and reacting.
It's always telling me I have a bad expression, but I don't. Yeah. So I have to smile more. I have to smile more. Yeah, now it keeps the smiling expression.
What One of the things you'll learn is the cameras are set up as if you're truly in a vehicle position. So when you're looking outside talking to me, and it loses your face in its picture, and so when it changes, and it just goes to, it's like it gets confused, if you will. But in a normal driving scenario, it is much more reactive.
Yeah, I think I have to, when I look straight and smile, then the expression also works there. And nice also with the steering wheel grasp, by the way, that how fast that reacts. And yeah.
One of the key portions of this is, like I said, as we gather this data, right now we're in the learning. The early stage of developing a profile for you is learning. But as we get to know you more, just like in any relationship, you can actually get to the point of predictive. And that's what really starts to make a difference for us in the cockpit of the future, is we want to get to a predictive cabin. We can tell what is likely to be coming in your case, and we can provide some kind of wellness action before it becomes an issue. And that's what we're doing. So when we look at cockpit of the future, we look at connectivity and we look at adaptability. Well, what enables the adaptability is the predictiveness. And that's what active wellness is doing. It's giving us the learnings we need about the occupant to be able to be long-term predicting what the occupant needs.
So maybe this future seat will also be able to lower my heart rate a little bit then, because at the moment here it's very hot in the motor show and a lot of stress, of course, and that's usually very high for someone who does sports, 70 beats. That's a little bit too high for me. And now we are joined by Markus Uhlich, designer from Faurecia, and he's the best person to explain us this concept, because this is, of course, how it might be the future in the cockpit. How close to reality is this?
Well, actually, we are developing for our customers, which are the OEMs. So a lot of these ideas are very close to production, at least in development. And so now we're talking to our customers to apply it in their interior. Of course, they have a design process, and they need to integrate it in their design process as well. But most of the ideas you see here are ready for production.
So I think with the stone surface, one major topic was maybe about crash safety, because there are also regulations, or is that no problem?
Well, there's regulations on that one, but the way it's done, it's not having, let's say, big parts. It's like very, very small parts. And here I think we are very, very good in performance of the material. Yeah? In terms of, if you think about wood, it could be also happening that you have a little splice of wood, but nobody considers that anymore. So we are using the same technology to apply our stone material.
I think it's really impressive because it looks so completely different from everything else. It also has some crystal structures inside, so it's also reflecting the light in many ways. So is this something where you might think only premium cars will develop to, or can you also offer those services in cheaper cars?
Well, I would say it's not only about premium cars, because our decoration offer is starting actually from the entry level, which of course will not have the high level decoration parts, but in the medium level it starts that we apply wood, that we apply aluminium, and I think therefore we could also apply it in the medium level quite well.
From a designer perspective, what is the future cockpit like? Is it a bright future for you? Do you have more possibilities, or do you have less possibilities than at the moment?
Well, definitely it's very, very interesting, and I think it's very bright. It offers a lot of opportunities. As you could imagine, you're not only driving anymore, you might be able to do other things in the car. And that means relaxing, maybe working, maybe sleeping or eating. So, of course, as a designer, I'd like to serve all these functions in the best way. And this, of course, gives a lot of opportunities for us to develop.
Here in this very special display, can you show us some more of the features you've included right here?
Yes, for example, you were talking about surfaces. I will talk about smart surfaces now. For example, if I press the start button here, so the interaction with this decoration part is now possible. And how do we interact? What do we interact? For example, we can activate the air vents, and currently you do not see anything yet, but if I actuate the intensity, it changes the light, which means it enforces, let's say, the light power, which is similar to the airflow power. But I can also adjust the temperature, and this is in line with the color setting of the air vents. When you enter the car, usually you bring your smartphone. It's your personal device. So what do? You start the car, and then the car asks you to insert your phone. And what it does, it actually connects with the car, so you can have access to your data, and your data will be used, for example, for navigation or music or maybe your personal moods. So all these kind of things you can imagine to merge and integrate seamlessly between your personal life and the car. So the car becomes part of your personal life. What we have over here is an integrated AMOLED in a black panel surface. And the idea behind is, again, the seamless integration. So you do not see the border of the AMOLED to the surrounding frame. It's completely integrated. I just need to look. Again, here you can have different mood settings. And if you look now, for example, up here, the light setting was changing for the deco light, and also in the door panel, we have an animated light. And I will just in parallel change the mood if you stay on with the camera. So now it's a different mood, as well in the door panel, as well up here.
So really disco times coming to our interiors, but I think it's a really likable concept because you can really do so much more to an interior. It seems like will be a very interesting future ahead, especially when we talk about autonomous drive, and maybe the disco times are not so far away when we have some party while driving, including the driver.
Talking about autonomous, there is one more feature I'd like to show you. It's like going into the relaxed position and transforming the interior in a more convenient environment. So you have more leg room, but still having the interface together with you, so you can interact with the car, and then later on you can get back into driving position.
Thank you very much for the insight. And my favorite is definitely here the stone surface. Really looking forward to that in a real serious production car, and also about the using of the cloth on dashboard. I think it's been hardly done, not so often. Maybe we see it with some new Citroen cars and also from a Range Rover Evoque basis version, but I think it also should be used more often. And here we'll find another future cockpit layout. Here it's about the glass and electric sensors behind the buttons, because when I press a button here, you also hear it. So the sensor beneath the glass is sensing that I'm pressing this area, and then gives me also a haptical feedback. Very interesting. And we are back here with Fabrice, and he will also explain us, you can do it in a different way, because on this side the buttons feel a little bit different. Why are you doing this?
So the idea here is to offer Technobricks to our customers. Okay, this is really about our future in the future, integrating glass and integrating switches. So what is important is to offer different solutions. Here we have used the piezoelectric technology to make some switches either under the wood. You saw it under the aluminium on the other demonstrator, under the wood or under the glass. What is good is that you can activate something, but you also receive a feedback of what you have done, because touching a surface, you don't know whether it has been taken into account. What do we do here? You have a haptic feedback, so you feel it in your finger, and on top we have doubled it. Here, for example, on the temperature, and you see the airflow when I'm directing the airflow. You see that you have a visual feedback on the temperature here through LED or through light in the airflow. So this is completely integrated and offered for the steps of tomorrow.
And then this can also be an autonomous driving car. You see it here there it is. That will be the autonomous mode, and then you could, for example, start writing emails.
Yes, indeed. So with the autonomous mode, the electrification, the connectivity, and all the shared economy, there will be very different use case in the future. We will not only drive, and this is what it's about, Cockpit of the Future. It's about understanding the new use case and offering solution to the different OEMs or to the different customers of tomorrow.
Oh, there's someone calling me. No.
Yes, so there's someone calling, for example. We are in a driveless mode, and then your brother is calling. So we are using a screen which was giving you some information about how to drive, the speed, etc., as an interface for other things. Maybe you can imagine looking at films, having phone, or reading emails, preparing a presentation through this. So we are just putting that in a situation. It's not only, I would say, it's not a traditional cockpit, but it's just to offer solution and give ideas of what could happen.
So what's your favorite future cockpit so far here?